Hey, what is going on, guys? Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. We are pumped tonight. We got a lot to talk about, some really exciting things. Hope you're having a great day, man. And we are not doing a little countdown. We're just going right into it. That's where we're at.
Straight in.
Tonight. Straight in. So let me know in the chat where you are contacting, or actually, I guess joining us from. Not really contacting. But we've already got lots of chatter in the chat. So where you guys? Goober burgers. What in the world? Yeah, I think Chris was talking about adding peanut
No, Chris, they're
butter
not tasty. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really gross.
I've had them.
Like a Goober burger, Chris. I mean, who would eat that?
I have to heavily disagree on peanut butter on a cheeseburger.
Yeah,
being good.
And I can eat peanut butter and jelly like all day long. I love peanut butter and jelly.
I mean, I can eat it. It's just not. What about Nutella?
No, not on a hamburger.
No.
I had a friend that was talking up those Goober burgers in Sedalia, Missouri for years. And we finally had a chance to go there together. He's just like, it's magical. It's so good. We got to go. Went there. I was like, it tastes exactly like you think it would taste, and it's not good. Really? I don't want any more of this. I didn't even want to eat my burger.
Like peanut butter? No. Butter? Yes.
Butter on a hamburger.
Yeah. Butter, like a butter burger or something.
There you go.
And it's an enhancer, right? It's a preservative. It is an enhancer. Peanut butter.
Yeah, that just ain't.
I'm not going to say what it is on a burger right now because it would get Michael demonetized.
I appreciate it.
There's some weird stuff popping up here. Look at this one. What is that?
Chocolate chip cookie.
Well, there was the thing.
I like chocolate chip cookies though.
What was the Krispy Kreme donuts?
Oh yeah, they put a donut and a donut and a hamburger in the middle.
Yeah, that was called something. I don't remember what it was called.
They do that at our local. We've got oh goodness, strawberry festival, and so they'll do that. Krispy Kreme on top, Krispy Kreme on the bottom, that big old fat burger in the middle.
There you go. This is it.
All right, there. That works.
Love it.
A heart attack. That's probably what it was called.
Yeah.
And then you got like the McChubble from McDonald's with the double cheeseburger and a McChicken. I mean, I could get behind that.
Let me see where everybody's from. Nicholas, good to see you. West Australia, man. I love it.
Isn't it like really early in the morning in West Australia?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like opposite over there. So he's up early. New York, good to see you. Zach's in Ohio. Who else we got? Oregon. Miles, good to see you, man. Drop zones in North Carolina. El Paso, Texas. What's up, Rick?
I'll be in Austin tomorrow.
Yeah. Just got back from watching the Hunger Games. My family and I saw that together. I enjoyed it.
Was it good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Atlanta, we got
Was it as good as the Green Knight?
I don't know. Ohio, Miami.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we got Tennessee folks. I'm keeping
Puerto Rico,
Illinois, North Cal, from Mars. Yeah, I could see that. Alabama. Oh mercy! No, Nicholas, we're not going there tonight. I'm from Sedalia, Jonathan.
Sedalia. That's where the Goober burgers originates from. Sedalia, Missouri.
I love it. I didn't know it.
You must have grown up on it as a young kid. Maybe you get acclimated to that taste, but
when the peanut butter is covering your taste buds, it becomes difficult to taste anything else.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, Nicholas said it's 9 a.m. at Texas, Ohio, Puerto Rico. Tito, what's up, buddy?
I already said that.
And Hardeep is in London. It's 1 a.m. there. Dude, I want to get over to London. It's on my bucket list. It's gonna happen. Chicagoland. Tennessee, we got DC, we got Canada, Montreal. Sebastian, good to see you, man. We got some folks coming to MWAVE from Canada. I'm super pumped about that. Sweden, yeah, big street cinema. K-Man's in Canada. Man, you guys are all over the place. I love it. Texas, Huntsville, Alabama. Dude, I lived 4 years in Grant, Alabama, which is probably about 45 minutes east of Huntsville. Very familiar with Huntsville. North Carolina, Alberta, Canada, Benny is from Florida. What's up, Benny? He was our photographer last year. One of them for, actually, he was the photographer for MWAVE. Virgin Islands, man. Love it. What?
I think
2
Michael's
in
on a.
Ryan's bedroom. What?
I mean, maybe he's there.
He slid in your house, bro. You better go check.
Didn't just slide into my DMs. He slid into my bedroom, evidently.
Right. What in the world?
My
man?
wife said she was going to go watch something. I may have to go check on that.
Nice, man. All right, cool, man. In Sydney, yes. Another Aussie. I love it. Texas, Alabama, India. Very cool. Puerto Rico's in the house. Love it.
So
cool, man.
What was I going to say? Oh, I saw somebody say something about Godzilla that just came out.
It's in the starred comment.
I didn't see
where
that
did that go?
There it goes.
There
right?
it is. -1. And he's not the first one that I've heard say that. And this is one of the Japanese storylines for Godzilla. It's not the legendary one. This is the more where it started kind of thing. So that's good to hear.
Okay.
We've got a lot of Godzilla stuff going on. You got the TV show. You got, they just announced, I saw the announcement trailer for Godzilla and Kong: A New Empire. That dropped today. And then you got this one. So I'm all for it, as long as they don't suck.
My friend Tim has been talking about it nonstop since he went a couple days ago. He's like, "You got to go," and I'm like, "I don't like any Godzilla movies." And he's like,
"Oh,"
I'm like, "Nah, I don't think so." But I don't know. I have read a lot of good things.
They don't like you. Makes me sad. Don't like Godzilla. It's like saying you don't like Pacific Rim.
I don't like Pacific Rim either.
Oh my god!
At all.
Wrong with
At
you?
all.
What is wrong with you? Hey Siri, turn off the basement lights. What is?
The Godzilla is different than Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim's a whole different ballgame. I probably like Pacific Rim's terrible to me. It's a trash movie.
I like some of it. Like some of it's just action. I mean,
you have to go in knowing that the story is going to suck.
Yeah,
and you're just gonna see big old things have demo-worthy content. That is all this is about. You cannot expect any more than that. And if you do, you're going to be like, this is a trash movie because I'm Jonathan Van Engelen.
All right, so
this is awful.
When I'm watching this in my home theater, this is 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. When did that come out? It's been a while.
Which one?
The Pacific Rim, the original one. It came out when I was in my other house, which was 9 years ago at least.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about how awesome it was. And I read it and watched it. And
so Brian says it's awesome.
Everybody's yelling the whole time. Like they don't ever have a spoken line of dialogue. Everyone's yelling the entire time. It's super.
That's the expectation.
It's without sounding condescending. It was a juvenile movie. Like I did not. Like
yes,
I
absolutely.
did not like it.
But I am a juvenile person.
Robotech. Oh yeah.
You didn't like any of the like Gundam Wing or any of that stuff growing up, did you, Jonathan?
I've never seen Gundam Wing.
He was over here like.
That one.
PBS.
Reading Rainbow, baby.
Reading Rainbow. And that's just Jonathan. We're over here with Dragon Ball Z and Gundam Wing and Robotech and all this other stuff. And he's like,
oh, no way, Dale. Shout out to the Georgia folk. No, there's just so many of y'all. Y'all just you're letting me know, man. I appreciate you.
See, Frank gets it. It's cheesy and awesome.
I think it can be both.
Yes.
Movies can definitely be both. Yeah.
Because it has to know what it is. And if it knows what it is, it can be great. Yeah. Like, do we think that the first Tremors, not Tremors 7, but the first Tremors, do we think that it knew that it was going to be cheesy? Or do you think that they thought it was going to be
they did a little tongue-in-cheek, some of that stuff. Sure,
yeah.
I think so.
And that's what made it great. I thought. And that's what makes Pacific Rim great.
No, I don't think they think they're doing something cheesy in Pacific Rim.
Yes, they do. No? Okay, fine. I love it.
Gotta have some Power Rangers.
I love it.
Now that's kind of a cheesy movie.
That is taking it too far, Brian. Godzilla, the Japanese versions, and I don't know what that version's called. They're always a little more serious than the other ones are. They're a lot darker.
So he says part 2 is hot garbage.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I've only just seen bits and pieces, like the demos, and the demos are amazing. You're like, oh, dude, this sounds awesome. But
would you agree that it's good demo material, though, Jonathan?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you watch the demo material, you're like, this is A plus. But
yeah, you just got to realize that it's an hour and a half piece of demo content. That's all it is.
No.
Yes. That's all I'm going to do next time Jonathan comes over is just have Pacific Rim on loop the entire time. And maybe do like split screen with Pacific Rim here and Godzilla here. And just, that's all it's going to be.
Ryan's going to have all these different movie nights. And every time I say I'll come, he's going to switch the
That's right.
night to Pacific Rim.
I get it.
So since we've been talking about movies, the movie for this week was Green Knight. Did anybody in chat watch it?
Yeah,
Jonathan and I did.
I watched it.
Anybody else watch
so
it?
Excited.
He texted me when he finished it.
I didn't hate it. So on your Facebook group, the Youth Man group, there were people saying they really hated it. And I was like, oh boy, what are we in for? I didn't hate it, but I didn't understand it. I was telling Ryan pre-show, like, I'm not smart enough to really latch on what happened, I guess, because I just didn't understand it. And it's hard to say whether you liked or hated something if you feel like you didn't quite grasp everything in it.
So should I ruin it for people or no? I mean, that's kind of the expectation.
Spoiler alert, right here.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about what the movie is.
Yeah, go grab some coffee if you need to. Like
if you don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Go grab a coffee. Go to use the bathroom. Come back, and we'll be done.
So,
when did you finish it? First off, when did you finish it? Like I just finished it right before this podcast.
I finished it a couple days ago.
It's one of those that I will read up on and try to figure out what other people's take are, and it may be left intentionally ambiguous.
It is
ambiguous.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thanks, Mike.
It is.
Yeah, man.
It actually has a different. So the whole movie is based on a poem, and the movie has a different ending to the actual poem. In the poem, he dies. Right? He's beheaded. In this one, it I think is left ambiguous to not have such a stark ending. And from what I've understand, there was another ending that came about, but I don't know what that ending was. The whole movie was, from my take, and I went into this not knowing anything about this movie.
Same.
I enjoyed it, so I went and read a little bit more about it. I wouldn't say it was an amazing movie, but it was. I don't regret watching it. The whole movie was about him, from my take, kind of having a upbringing where he couldn't do anything right, and he meets the Green Knight, right? And he gets challenged to a game, and you think, oh, he's going to be imbued with some power or whatever if he just like taps him, right? So he doesn't. He really taps him and beheads him. So, and the whole game behind it was whatever blow you deal to him.
Yeah. Okay. You're going there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whatever blow you deal to him, he will deal back in a year's time. So the moron that is the main character decides, instead of tapping him, he's going to behead him. And I don't know if he did that because he thought that it was just an actual game, or he thought that the guy would just die and not be able to do anything, but he beheads him. And then the guy stands up and starts laughing and then walks away and says that he's going to have to meet him in a year's time. And then the whole movie is effectively this journey of him having to, in my opinion, suffer the consequences, if you will. Like, he never is able to deal with the end result. He always runs away from it. And then at the very end of the movie, what ends up happening is he meets the Green Knight, who he's supposed to go find, this journey, and then get the blow given back to him. So it's a repeated, the Green Knight goes through the beheading. You don't know if he's actually going to behead him or if it's just a game, but he keeps like backing away and flinching and saying, no, I'm not ready. No, I'm not ready. And then eventually he gets up and runs away, and then goes back and hugs his horse. And then it goes off onto, his life continuing. And it's this life of, he has a kid, then the kid gets stolen, then he effectively runs his empire into the ground. And then at the very end, he's dying or his empire's dying and his head falls off. And then it jumps back to the Green Knight, and you realize that this whole thing was a flash of him thinking of what his life would be if he didn't suffer the consequences of going through what he should have done right there. So then the whole movie ends with the Green Knight says once the main character says, all right, I'm ready. The Green Knight, the whole movie ends and says, off with your head. And then it goes to black and you don't know if he actually dies or not.
Okay.
So to me,
I think he does die because he
well, in the
removed
poem,
sash.
he's supposed to.
He removed the sash that was supposed
Yes.
to protect him, the enchanted sash. And then the Green Knight kind of looks at him and like, you made the right decision, which was odd. And then off with your head. He makes like the gesture, like you're done. You remove the sash, now you're done.
Yeah. So it was
I love
okay.
these comments, man. They're cracking me up.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
I don't think it was terrible.
It wasn't terrible. I don't regret watching it. I mean, it was. There are some movies that I regret watching, like Tremors 7.
Right here. Poor man's Macbeth.
It was way better than Tremors 7.
Yes.
I'll give it that.
Tremors 7. I mean, Tremors 7 was really bad, but I'm still sad that Bert died.
That was a weird ending too. Yeah, I mean, after 7, you might as well just keep going.
But we don't know if Bert died. I mean, maybe he's alive.
He got eaten, right? And blown up with dynamite and fell on spikes.
People go through worse.
He went through 3 things: got eaten, fell down a cliff, landed on spikes, and got blown up by TNT. That's 4 things.
4 things. That's not
so
3.
Are we good to bring everybody back in?
Walked away. You're telling me? Come on.
Maybe.
Are we good to bring everybody back in?
Yeah, I think so.
You think they're listening?
Yeah, they are. So we're good.
But how would they know?
Because I told them I'd give them 2 thumbs up.
Oh, they muted. I see what you did there. I'm like, how would they be listening and not hearing me talk about stuff?
Yep.
I don't care. I don't get it.
They probably were still following some of the
All right.
chat.
So what should the next movie be? What should our next? Maybe we should actually choose a good thing we think is going to be good. I thought Green Knight was going to be good, but I knew nothing about it. I chose Green Knight. Jonathan, what you got?
What if we did like our favorite movies? Like, would you guys watch 13th Warrior? That's probably one of my favorites we talked about previously.
Yeah, I actually watched that this year.
Oh, you already watched it?
And you probably have.
I'll watch it again.
Oh my goodness, man!
I don't know that it's my absolute favorite, but it's underappreciated in my opinion by far. It's in my top 5. But go ahead, Michael.
Man, I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. Denzel Washington.
The Equalizer.
No. It's an older movie, real dark.
Training Day?
Kind of a Western. I can't say a lot about it.
It's Book of Eli.
Yes, Book of Eli. Have you seen that?
Great
Jonathan?
movie.
Yes.
I love that one.
Yeah. That's like, if you haven't seen that, you guys need to go watch it. It's a cool movie. The story on it, phenomenal. That's why I was kind of tiptoeing around the story. Man, I'm going to put this out a little bit further because I'm like a hands guy, but that's like right in the way tonight. Yeah, Herc says that's a great movie. Yep, Miles, Eli. Yeah.
Wait a second. I want to go back. Oh, maybe we shouldn't. Should we go back? There's a comment in there. Okay.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
Then they're gonna have to mute again and come back in, and so.
So are we doing 13th Warrior?
Well, if you guys have all seen it, Michael, have you seen that one?
I've not.
Yeah, but
are you gonna watch it this time?
Any of this stuff?
What's this about?
I think the humor in this is gonna be Michael didn't watch it again. Yeah.
You're down the road. Michael hasn't watched a single movie. His theater's still.
Yeah, man, we're on like episode 943,
and we find out that Michael has actually never watched a movie in his theater ever.
Theater's never been turned on. It's
no,
I just go in there and sit in my seats and take naps. So that's what it was.
So what do you want to watch?
I'm looking at some of the.
Is there anything new that's like at Redbox or something that we'd want to watch? Brand new off the shelves?
I don't know. Let's look.
Let's turn to the comments. Somebody might give some feedback.
Gran Turismo. I need to watch that. I bought that.
I don't want to watch those movies until I won't watch them until my theater's done.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to find like more classics or things that I think we can all watch where we're not necessarily worried about watching them. I'm being selfish, but
you could watch it on an iPad and still.
Yeah, I can watch it on at my desk or.
Yeah, John Wick 4 on the iPad is pretty rough. It's rough in the theaters. Hot take. I didn't like it.
4K
John Wick 4? I
movies.
didn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked
I
about that in
didn't
a previous
either.
podcast.
Hippie
It was
long stockings. What the heck?
disappointing.
Only the Brave. Amazing movie. The
That was a
Blob.
great movie.
Van Helsing. Haven't seen that one. Dark Tower. Oh man, here, dude, we're gonna be on like an hour podcast just of
Movies popping up every
everybody
second.
saying what they think. Terminator 1 and 2, Big Trouble Little China. Those are some old movies. There was
Pick something
one-
family oriented so I can watch it with my family.
New
What
releases.
was the one?
I'm looking
man,
right now.
I'm horrible with remembering what movies are even called.
What is this?
What's that? What?
Oh, that's old. Arrow just released Tremors 2 Aftershocks. So sorry.
What was the one? It was kind of like a love story when they're out in space.
Passengers.
That's a
That-
fun one.
I think that was it. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. That was pretty cool.
Did you ever hear about the alternate ending that the fan edition of that?
I don't think
It's
so.
it's really kind of a cool idea. So you know at the end of that one how the two basically stay alive on the ship until they die of old age, and when they get to the place there's a tree built and you can kind of see evidence that they live their lives out together.
Mhm.
The alternate ending or the idea that the
Don't
fans
ruin a
created-
movie or anything.
Yeah, I was like, dude, he just went straight hardcore. Like,
the alternate ending is that he dies in that reactor that he's trying
Right.
to stop.
sure.
And then she faces the exact same situation that he faced, whether she wants to wake someone up again, and it like closes on that. How cool would that be? They really missed the mark on that one.
Awesome. So that was like a fan, like
Yeah,
saying,
yeah. It was like this could have been
better.
that one tier better if you had an ending like that, because that's the whole premise of the movie, right? Would you wake someone up to have company if you were going to live your life solo on a ship like that?
Wow.
Ninja
And then
Shark.
she was faced with the same thing after having that frustration that she got woke up.
Yeah.
Ninja Shark. How about that one?
No.
No.
Waterboy. That was a funny movie.
I'm looking at new releases to see what.
They're still.
Hey, what
Yeah.
about The Abyss? It's coming out in theaters here. Some people could watch it in the theater. Some people could watch it at home. Do you guys ever watch that one, or do you like that one?
I'll watch it.
James Cameron, long ago, Michael.
When does it come out
I
though?
remember it, but I don't think I ever saw it. Sharknado?
I'm gonna
No,
look up the date.
that's terrible.
Yeah, but Sharknado, you know it's going to be bad when you go
What's
into
up
it.
with that, dude. Oh,
December 6th is the re-release of The Abyss in one day in the theaters. So that'd
Let's
be good.
do
'cause
that. Okay, let's do
Because some
that.
people would watch it in the theaters this week and have that experience.
Let's do The Abyss.
all right. So the movie of the week. Here, let me drop it. There's a banner. How about this? The Abyss. Is
Yeah,
on-
I haven't watched that one in probably 20 years. So
I haven't
that one's
watched it, and
going
I don't
up
even
to
know how long. A long time.
All right. So your homework this week, folks, watch The Abyss. We'll have some conversation about next week. They may have a conversation.
Michael's not
terrible.
going to watch it. We all know that Michael is not going to watch it.
It's all good, man. That'll be you got to come back next week and find out. Did I watch the movie? Oh, mercy.
There's some backstory on the actors and actresses in that Abyss movie. They did not like James Cameron after it was done. You have to
Oh,
read up on some of that at some point.
Randy says his wife says The Abyss is approved. Awesome, man.
Glad we got approval.
Yeah. I have my tickets for Abyss. There you go. The Notebook. Nah, probably not.
I think the re-release has extra footage and stuff. It's like not just the original theatrical version. I think they've done a little bit of extra on it.
Yeah, lots of folks are saying The Abyss was great.
It's going
Oh,
to
wow.
be abysmal.
Chris, come on. Oh, nice. Very cool. Love it, man. Well, if you guys have questions, drop it in the chat. We'll have another update here I want to talk about. And then we'll have some fun answering questions. So drop those in the chat. course, super chats get priority. Actually, there's already been a super chat, so let me go ahead and hit that one real quick, and then we will come back to something I want to talk about, and then we will hit. So, Mr. Paul, appreciate it. $5 super chat right off the bat. Could you compare and contrast JTR to per listen for home theater? Own some per listens for 2-channel and really enjoy them, but no exposure to JTR. So we had both of them at MWAVE. Ryan, you've owned per listen, you've owned JTR, at least the subwoofers, and then we've heard lots of different JTR in different homes in your area, especially. So
no, that's not what I meant to do. Why does it? Sorry,
that's all right. We'll get to it.
So they're kind of two very different speakers.
100%.
Per listen is very directive. It uses a beryllium tweeter and kind of an array setup. They're a lot smaller typically, and then JTR is on the like total opposite end of that spectrum. So
JTR would be considered very direct speakers as well. Their dispersion patterns are very narrow on the horn, considerably more than per listen.
30 degrees, 40 degrees on
per listen. Only 30 or 40.
I think it's 40. Yeah,
I think JTR is wider than that.
Yeah, JTR is like 90. 60 or 90.
It probably depends on the speaker you look at, but I didn't know per listen was that narrow. Why would it be that narrow?
It's what they chose to do. They're more of a beamformer.
60 by 60 on the JTR, so they're both actually pretty narrow.
Yep, they're very narrow. I would say if you already have the per listens, there's no reason to go a different direction unless you feel like the per listens aren't delivering in something.
So maybe what are some of the key differences?
I think the per listen are more like an audiophile type sound, aren't they? Aren't they kind of more like a soft dome tweeter type sound versus a horn type sound? As far as that goes.
Well, what does an audiophile type sound mean?
They don't sound the same. The JTR sounds like a compression driven horn. I mean, that's what it sounds like. The
soft domes have a different sound than horns, I think, too. I think so.
Per listens sound much closer to like a Martin Logan. Or
Bruce said, Jonathan, didn't you say audiophile was a bad thing?
No, it's just a different sound.
Can be an overpriced thing, in my opinion, but not a bad thing per se. Like it literally means like not flaws aren't detectable really. Like it's just a very clean, neutral sound.
Yeah,
not trying to have its own sound signature.
What comes in comes out.
Yeah.
They're good speakers. I would say if you already have per listens, there's no reason to go a different direction.
They're great.
They're good
I mean, I've
speakers.
heard a bunch of different per listen systems.
Yeah, they're going to do just as well in movies as they are in 2-channel. Your only real drawback with the per listens is what I've run into with my Martin Logans, and I knew this going in, is limited dispersion. You're going to have seat to seat inconsistencies potentially, depending on how you set them up with the per listens. So that's the main drawback. You take a lot of the room out of the equation having that directivity, but you also sacrifice some of the seat-to-seat consistency because of it.
Yeah, there's no perfect speaker for sure. So
I feel like the JTR horn design with their compression driver, let's put it this way. There's a compression driver in the JTR is about a $700 parts cost. Like if you were to buy it, it's about $700.
It was $900 when I visited his factory, and that was 3 years ago.
Then my information might be outdated. It's a very expensive, top of the line driver, super clear, but it has a kind of a, because it's horn loaded, waveguide loaded like that, it kind of has that sound. It's a little sharper, a little clearer, volume for days. I mean, you can take that thing to the levels that make your ears really hurt, and it will be super clean. You can't do that with an audiophile speaker. Like
I don't even know that they would hurt, though.
It would hurt because it's. So I've been in JTR rooms where Jeff had the volume, and Jeff Bermanian, the owner, he can crank those speakers up to literally high 120s, low 130 dB levels, and your ears. To me, here's how I would describe it. My eardrums were distorting, and it's a different sound than a speaker distorting. Like a speaker distorting starts sounding like you can tell something mechanical is not right, something's wrong. When your eardrum starts distorting, the little membrane on there isn't like functioning right, and it's a different sound. And it's the only time I've ever in my life felt like this isn't a failure in the speaker. It's my human body that's failing here.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, and again, I think the best advice we could ever give you is do your best to come here, both of them. And last year we had Perlison and we had JTR at MWAVE, and hopefully we'll have them again and be able to come hear them again. You like that? See, dude, I always segue, man. I'm a segue master. Because guess what? We're going to talk about MWAVE for a second. Just kidding. Not really, but
Were you?
Yeah, I am. Of course I am. When we're done here.
Oh.
So any other thoughts on that?
This is a good thing. And this is kind of speaking of the value deal. So
Sure.
Ryan says audiophile speakers tend to sink a lot of money on appearance. So you got like wood veneer cabinets, you got beautiful like silvers and golds and all that kind of stuff.
That's actually a really good point.
And some of your money goes there instead of the drivers. I mean, let's be just real frank. Now you can have audiophile speakers that spin top tier shelf drivers, but it's not necessarily that being the case. Like JTR puts a garage finish on it and puts the best drivers you can buy. And you know, audiophile speaker tends to, people want to look at a nice cabinet, so they chose that route sometimes too.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So I appreciate the super chat. I'm gonna do one more real quick because this one we're not answering a question. I just want to give out a shout out to Herc's daughter. Thank you. That was so sweet. Said his daughter likes the show and said, "Hey Dad, you need to send some money." I think it's hilarious. That's awesome, man. We love you guys' support, man. Appreciate it. All right, so here's what I want to share. So this past week on Friday, we launched the VIP home theater experiences at MWAVE. And so I want to get Jonathan's thought on that because we were talking and he was like, what just happened? You know, so
sort of baffled my mind that sold out that fast.
We launched tickets for the VIP. So let me back up. A month ago, we launched the general admission sales. Great response there. And we're like 8-9 months in advance to the show. So that's awesome. So on Friday, we launched the VIP home theater experiences, the tickets for that. So this year we have 8 home theater experiences. Ryan's one of them. Jonathan's one of them. Then we have 6 other ones. So we've been promoting it the past month, letting you guys know well in advance. You can view the website, take a look at it and see what's available. That way you could go ahead and be making up your mind, because last year VIP's tickets sold out in 5 hours. The VIP Gold sold out in 12 hours, and the VIP Platinum tickets sold out in 5 days. So I kind of had some thought that they may very well sell out pretty quickly as well. So we launch it at noon, and I immediately get bombarded with texts. Michael, I'm having issues with shipping. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Michael wanted to ship all of us to these theaters.
I don't know what happened.
Better show up to the UPS and FedEx and ship yourself.
The short version of that is somehow in the shopping cart. So it's the same platform, same structure, same everything that we used last year. I didn't change anything, but this year it decided to remove the free shipping option. So it was causing failure on the checkout process. It was asking, like when you would put your shipping, it was like, I don't know how to process this because there's not a free shipping option. So I figured it out pretty quickly. So
what was it?
It literally, I had to go in and add free shipping option, and then it allowed that to go through. So I don't know what happened there, why it got deleted. I know I didn't touch anything. So I went back and looked at the time slot. So I fixed pretty close about 12:15. So it took me about 15 minutes to figure out what the issue was, got it resolved. And somehow we had one order come in prior to that. I think he just got lucky, but orders just started flooding in at about 3 minutes after I fixed it. So at 12:18, orders began coming in. And at 12:25, Jonathan had one of his slots fill out, like totally booked. Then at 12:27, Ryan had his first one sell out. Then a minute later, 12:28, Jonathan's second hour, technically your first hour, sold out. 12:28, same time, Ryan, his completely sold out, both of his time slots. And then a few minutes later at 12:40, Jonathan, your third one sold out. So
I thought they'd be out there for days or weeks, man.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I thought they'd be out there for a while.
Happened super quick, and so that was
they're not all sold out. There's still some slots available for some of the other.
There are.
100%. There's some great home theaters out there, and they all feature something different. And so if you're interested in that, you can head over to the website. I'll just throw a little banner up here. Where's it at? MidwestAVExperience.com, right at the top. And I think even on the homepage, yeah, pretty much at the top. Go to attend and then home theater experiences, and you can see all of those on there. If you want to just go right to buy the tickets, then you can go to the link right on the homepage. There's a big button at the top.
And for what it's worth, I've been at least to all the theaters on the list, and they're all worth like the experience. Like they're all very nice theaters. Now 3 of them aren't done, so I can't speak to those, but I
they're all really good.
But I know the owner in all 3 cases as well, and their previous theater was awesome, and they're on the right track. So
100%. So it's going to be fun, man. So we're really excited about that. I mean, think about it. We went from 4 of them last year to 8 of them this year. So we've doubled. And what we're seeing and what we're trying to do with MWAVE every single year is just make it bigger, make it better, provide more experiences, provide more side-by-side comparisons for you. So man, Chris is my biggest Discord like plug, dude. And I'm glad you remind me, because that's something I never got into too much. And so I always forget about Discord. Yeah, dude. So super pumped. So let me share this with you. This was cool. So the registrations that have come through so far, check this out. So we've got, of course, folks all over the US driving and flying. We got folks from Canada. So last year, I think we had 1. I know we had 1, but we might have had 2, but I'm pretty sure we only had 1 from last year from Canada. This year, we got 2 gentlemen from Canada. We got a guy from Saudi Arabia. How cool is that? We've got a gentleman from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, which is phenomenal. And then John, John's one of my patrons. He's real good friends now with Brian, who's also a patron. And both of them have been talking, and they're like, hey, would it be cool if we like rent an Airbnb, ride over to the show together, hang out, spend the week or a couple days or whatever it is, 5 days, and try to attend some of these shows. And so they were able to lock them in. So they've got 3 of them. They're going, actually, I think 4, because he's doing, I want to say Ryan's, and then he ended up getting 3 other ones. So that's cool. The dynamic there, that guys are developing friendships and hanging out. And so super pumped about that. But yeah, and even last year we had a gentleman from Hawaii, Bill. So hopefully Bill will be able to make it again this year. I know he had mentioned a comment last year that said, hey, I traveled X amount of miles from Hawaii, and absolutely it was worth it. So he had a great time. Bill's a great dude. And then we had a gentleman last year, even from Puerto Rico as well. And I don't know if it's the same guy. If you're in the chat, I saw a guy from earlier in Puerto Rico. If you came to MWAVE last year, let us know. So,
you guys ought to have a little longest distance traveled prize or something.
Yeah, I may have to do something like that. That would be fun. So that is super cool, though, man. That's exciting to me to know that we're creating something that you literally can't get anywhere else on the planet, and people are willing to come from literally all over the world. So I'm super grateful. Hey, there you go. Ryan Kramer says, "Come to MWAVE, meet your soulmate." You could,
that may be difficult.
Most of the women though that come, I mean, if you're a dude looking for a woman, most of them they're taken. It's the wives that are coming. So, but yeah, man. So, but anyway, so we're having a great time. So we're excited about this, and we'll continue to share more updates. And speaking of updates, there's a gentleman in this group that's working on his home theater. So Ryan, want to give us an update on yours, because right now yours is in shambles.
Shambles is probably an understatement to the current state of my theater. It's no longer in pieces. It's gone. I mean, we can take a look at what it looks like. So this is, can I zoom in here? View.
You may have to hit command, or yeah, there you go. Hit command plus or
yeah. So you guys can see it here. I zoomed in so that you guys can potentially see what's going on.
That
So
looks
I have
like
a
they
build
had
thread.
Johnny 5 short circuit robot on the top of your ceiling speakers. Scroll down just a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I just noticed that.
Yeah.
Funny.
So I have a build thread on ABS forums called The Void, which will be the name of the theater. I don't know why. I just wanted to make something blacked out that had something floating like the couch that has some contrast. So this couch is going to be in that theater again. We thought about doing something else, but it's just so comfortable. And I like the idea of it kind of being like a ship or a spacesuit that you're existing on in the middle of the theater. So went through all of this. This is all kind of the layout SketchUp of what I was trying to do before we took the theater apart. This was a crude drawing that I did.
It's a rude drawing.
Crude drawing that I did, and these are just inches of the dimensions of the space that I could provide to Officina. And then this was update 1, kind of giving people an outline of what everything was going to be. This was a big inspiration for how I kind of wanted the theater to look. Officina did this render. This isn't a room, it's a render. And then you have these cutouts and these lighting surfaces. It was too much. Like, it didn't really fit with what I was trying to do with something like the Void. And then we get down here, and these are the actual renders for the space that is coming into replace what I had with the Martin Logan stuff up top. So this will be much more white, I think, unless we go a different direction. And then you'll just kind of exist in this space. So that's all cool, but I don't think that's what Michael wanted to showcase. He wanted to start showcasing this. So this is what happened on Saturday, was we started demolition. And this doesn't look too bad, right? Until you start seeing like the couch and all of the stuff out of the theater out on the side here, and the cabinets start to get taken off. And you're like, oh, not too bad. And then we get down to this, and it just looks like I had a massive water leak or collapse.
Yeah.
And we're taking everything down to the studs. So that was update 4. Then Officina gave me this, which was just a SketchUp of what the room will actually look like. So you can see, or how it will be laid out. So you can see the walls where the speakers are going to be positioned, the 50 in the back. This is what the 50 will kind of look like looking at it from the front. These are the side walls, the entry door, the 232s. They'll be stacked 21s. And then the big baffle that'll be in the back to try and absorb a lot of the low frequency coming from the 32s and the 421s up front. And then we get to here. So this is today. We're down to studs, right? So the tile in the back is going to stay. I'm going to cover that with carpet because nobody's going to go back there. It's going to be baffles. There's no sense in ripping it out. The 50 is going to sit effectively right where the vacuum cleaner is right now. And then you'll have a 21, 21, and then 15-inch beryllium and 15-inch beryllium. And then this will all be permeable acoustic material, and the baffle will sit back there. So once we get all this cleaned out, the box vault is going to get all sealed in. All of the top is going to be filled in with R30. So we've got R13 up there right now, and then we're going to layer in more for R30 to try and stop a lot of stuff going up from into the second level. And then once all this gets taken out, we're going to start putting up the Risset clips and the channel. And then we're doing double layers of 3/4-inch OSB sandwiched with green glue. That'll go the entire width surround of the room and then on the ceiling. And then from there, we'll suspend the Officina stuff. The ceiling will actually get painted black. And if you come up here, you can see you've got these floating islands. And then there's going to be light channel back on these islands that's going to shoot it up and kind of create this glow that you see here. So that's actually the ceiling up above it, and there's lights firing up that creates this ambiance. And then the speakers sit behind these, and we've got down firing lights. The idea behind the whole space is I don't want you to see anything. Like, when the lights go out, you should not be able to locate any lights. There's no cutouts. There's nothing. It should just be the void.
And that's super ideal. I mean, there's no doubt for movie watching experience. I like how you're accenting stuff too, though. So it's not, because I've seen some velvet rooms that have no lighting, and it definitely kind of looks odd. So
this
I like
goes
how
back to
you're-
Maurizio with Officina. He did a really good job of coming up with this idea and keeping it very minimalistic and functional, because I told him this room is function over form. Like it's all about creating the best acoustic experience that I possibly can. And Peter Eilert, who is the other part of Officina Acustica, assisted in writing RP22, which is the big audio update for Cedia. He helped position all of this, and Maurizio designed it, and they're going to be the guys that make this come to life. This room will be shipped out from Italy February-ish, and it'll probably arrive here end of March.
Now, when you say this room will be shipped out,
so all of the black panels, all of the floating stuff, all of the lighting, all of the track lighting, it's going to be designed and kind of fit tested in Italy. And then it comes over here. I've given him all the dimensions, and we build it out and we put it in. Now, one of the big benefits to this, and one of the reasons that I decided to go this route, is one, it offsets from the inner wall. It's on like attachment structures that allow it to, all of these, every one of these is an acoustic panel that can be pulled off, and they're sitting approximately 10 inches away from all of that OSB. So there's a cavity back there where all the speakers sit. Then from there, I can run all of my speaker wire. I can run all of the power. I can do all of that, and I can manipulate all of that just by pulling off these panels. I don't have to hard set anything. I can change anything at will. But the other benefit to this is, let's say for whatever reason, I decide, or my wife and I decide that we want to move. Well, this room, because it's modular, can come with us.
Check that out.
So not only is it really cool that it's modular here, but if we go to another space, we can take it with us. And then if it doesn't fit exactly in that space, we can customize and build onto what we already have. And then reutilize everything that we've already had created and made for this space.
And so this is the same process that they use for Cedia this year, right?
Yes.
They design the room, they build the room overseas, they bring it over, ship everything, and they build it out. Nice.
So Maurizio will come over April-ish. We'll put it all together, and hopefully we'll be rocking and rolling right around that time frame.
Maybe I need to fly up for that. Like just film some of it. It'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
Ryan's like, I don't know about that, dude.
No, that's fine. You'll be put to work.
I don't care.
So this is where we sit.
Man.
So this room will be pushed back about this wall will be pushed back about 2 feet to make it, you can't really see it, but there's an indentation right here that there's about 2 feet. So it'll be symmetrical over here because we needed the width, because I'm losing like 20 inches due to the Officina walls sitting off of the existing structure. And then I'm losing a few inches due to the clips and channel.
Right.
So we're moving this about 2 feet so it's symmetrical. The actual visual part of the room that anybody will be able to see is only like a 15-foot square box. And I know that people will say, well, square rooms aren't ideal. Well, it's really, that's just what you can see. The room's actually a lot longer. You've got a 6-foot screen wall up front, and then like an 8 to 9 foot wall in the back for baffle.
Yeah.
So, and then this is the back there with the tile, and then this is the screen wall. So the front screen will actually sit right about there. And then we'll have all of this space back behind them. So you'll have a 32, 32, 21, 21, 21, 21, and then black swan, black swan, black swan. And then I have to be able to walk somehow back here, or shimmy, because I got to get to the electrical panels back there. And then the cabinets will move from here over. If anybody's been to my house, there's an unfinished part back there.
Right, the stairs.
Behind the stairs. That's where all of the cabinets and stuff will go. So
what Ryan didn't tell you, scroll back up just a second. So this picture right here is a result. They actually shipped the 80 early, and Ryan just fired it up, and it just destroyed his room. So,
Grant actually, before this picture was taken, came and took the 4000s. Do you know that, Jonathan?
I just heard it tonight from Sheldon. I didn't know that.
So is he just kind of hanging on to him for a little bit? Or
no, I think he's replacing his orbit shifters with the 4000s.
Really? Wow.
Because he was
stupid output.
I think he was just tired of not being able to get low. So he's like, I'll trade some of that high end output that I don't really think he utilizes for the low end grunt.
Yeah.
So now we got to tell Brian that another orbit shifter just came on. So then he can buy both of these and really piss off his neighbors.
Yeah, for sure. Man, dude, that's awesome, though. And I love the fact. So I dropped your link to the thread I already added it to the description of this video. So if you're watching this on the replay, you'll be able to check that out. And I also put it in the chat. So if you guys want to follow along. So this is gonna be cool. So this will be a regular weekly update, man. You let us know what's happening.
Yeah. I try and update this whenever something new happens. So I updated 4 times this weekend. And then what I try and do is I'll post like an update post and then I'll go back. I learned this doing my combat flight sim, like updates and things. I go back and update the OP with the update so that if somebody new comes in, they can just read through the original post. They don't have to go read 500 different posts to try and get up to date on what's going on. Because nobody really.
So you legitimately have 3 seats in this.
3 seats. Yes.
That's wild.
Function over form, man. I didn't want to compromise. And the funny thing is I said that, and now Tony's like, I'm thinking about getting rid of my second row. Because he wants to potentially do near fields.
Yeah.
Where it's a disease. We're infecting people.
Once you have near fields, it's real hard to go away from them. Because
if I could, I would in a heartbeat.
But I've not got them right now. They're not hooked up, and I'm sorely lacking them. Yeah, I mean, like you miss them.
So the 50 is actually going to be close enough that it will act as a near field.
Dude, your entire room will be close enough to be near. You can be outside the room. That thing's almost a near field sub.
So one thing we are doing, and I talked to my contractor about this, is we're actually going to cut a channel in my concrete so that I can run power and speaker wire out for the couch.
Cool.
It's a good idea.
Well, I was thinking about that too. I'm like, what happens if somebody wants to charge their phone? Like I have nothing, there's nothing there. And then I want to be able to run like the 12s that are on the cat. Not that I would necessarily need them, but the 12s, the bass shakers, because it's cool to be able to turn things on and off and do all of that.
For what you're doing here, man, you might just consider getting 4 of those Krausens and just leave it at that.
Maybe.
Oh, put 1 on each leg. You got 4 legs on it or 6? Is there legs in the middle too?
No, there's 12. It's three sections.
Probably.
It's 3 sections. That's why I haven't gone that route.
Yeah,
is because it's really expensive. So
is this,
we'll see,
kind of an accurate representation of the couch or not? So
no, the couch.
The only reason why I'm asking is there like a true center seat? Because I know
it's right there.
The seats are
no, there is a real center seat. It's right here.
Using the same couch?
Same couch.
Okay. So the other one just looked different. So
no, it's just
okay.
My wife and I decided that we really like this couch and it's super comfortable and the back's really low and my camera
goes up.
So it's super comfy. There's no sense in buying something else. I've done
but you're completely locked up. I'm screaming.
I'm fixing it.
Did I miss it?
I've done the theater chairs, which I get some people like. It's just not my jam.
Yeah.
I don't. For how my wife and I watch and how I like to sprawl, and I can't do that in a theater seat. And this couch is super comfortable.
Yeah. It's not your peanut butter and jelly, man.
No. Definitely not peanut butter on a burger.
You got a nice offer here from Ian.
Yeah, I saw that.
Keep your equipment nice and warm while you're tearing up your room.
A lot of the equipment's actually been sold already. All of the 8-channel Buckeyes sold. I guess I can do a recap on this.
Yeah.
So what I have left for anybody that wants anything or is interested, I've got the NZ9, which is I'll part with for 15, right? So NZ9, it's got like 400 something hours on it. Then I've got a Storm ISP Mark III, which I'll part with for 15. And then I've got 3 SA 7040 Buckeye monoblocks. We'll do 25% off those. So for each one of those. And then do I have really anything else? And then I've got the big Renaissance up front, which I'll sell for 11.
Do you sell all the rest of your Martin Logan speakers?
They're all gone.
Really?
Yep. Everything's gone except
local guys. Local guys or
all the Martin Logan stuff actually went to one guy.
Oh wow.
He's recreating your theater.
He already had something kind of like it, and then he was updating. He had scripts, which are the older versions of these, of the EFX that are on the wall, and he wanted to update them. So he took my Illusion. He's local. Took the Illusion, which is the center channel. Took all of the C100s on the ceiling. Actually, I have one left, but I don't know that I want to sell it. Yeah, actually. He took 6 of those C100s. Nobody's bought the 35 XTIs, but I don't know that I really want to sell those because they've got some holes.
So here's the question Tito makes, and some of y'all may be wondering. So Ryan's selling everything, redesigning his everything.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
It's not necessarily that I'm changing processors. I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not using it for 6 months. So I try and go through everything and cycle, because I'm a dealer, every about a year. So I just got to go through stuff. For amps, I do know what I'm doing on amps as of right now. So the amps I'm doing, well, I don't know what I'm doing for my front soundstage, but for the surrounds and subs, I'm doing Ascendo amps. It just made sense cost-wise to do that. Processor and front channel amps, because the Black Swans are like 117 dB sensitive. We don't really know what we're going to do yet.
Do a 2-watt tube amp is what I heard.
The noise floor is the really important part on those, and then the other part for the processor is I'm trying to figure out how much I care about FIR filters, because the Black Swans because they're active with the 15-inch driver and then the horn assembly, I really need an FIR filter to be able to.
It's 12 dB over reference for 1 watt, Michael. To your point, that doesn't even sound real,
wild, dude. Yeah, I know. I mean, now, granted, that is at 1 meter, and he's not sitting 1 meter. So
I mean, it uses, from what I understand, it uses a 4-inch beryllium tweeter.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's enormous, and then it has this massive waveguide.
Yeah, the waveguide is huge. We heard it at Atlanta Home Theater.
I mean, you look at like the Focal Utopias and stuff, and their tweeters like this big.
Yeah,
and then the Black Swans is like this.
So Josh says 100,000 in this theater. That's
just
the
sub
one
cost,
subwoofer.
man. That's the 50-inch sub.
MSRP on the speakers alone and the subs is like $556,000.
I'm gonna go ahead and go on. See you guys later. It's been nice talking to you.
Ryan is in a whole different league, man.
So we'll see how this is the guy. And what I want people to understand is, guys, I'm a dealer. This is very much a showroom. This isn't something that I would even consider doing if I wasn't in that position. This is a
business opportunity.
This is a business decision.
Yeah. And your wife?
She was talking to the contractors today, and they go, "So what do you feel with your husband having these speakers?" Because they saw the 2 4000s leaving, and she goes,
"Yeah,
he's insane."
Yeah,
like he.
I've reached. You're a true crackhead, and he loves
I've reached the point of. She said, "This is her talking, that she's reached the point of acceptance." But
is it denial? Like
from her?
Like, this can't be happening.
No,
I'm gonna wake up.
Maybe, maybe.
But in all fairness, so she has experienced this version of Ryan in different levels. Now it's on a whole new level, but she knew what she was getting into, man. Because she show up with crazy stuff, and
not like this. I mean,
I know, like I said, this is a whole new level.
I wasn't. I mean, when we were married, I wasn't into the home theater stuff like I am now. I had some speakers,
and I had other things you were interested in.
Motorcycles, and I have a tendency to go to the very deep end of everything. But
when I first met you, that was one of the things that you told me. You're like, when we started talking about the possibility of, could we make something like an MWAVE? Could we make an AV event? And you're like, if I'm going to do it, we're going all out. You know, we're going
anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yeah.
Only do it once. I say that, and then I'm going to do it again. So
just bigger.
It doesn't matter. But I do want people to understand that this theater is very much a showroom. This isn't just my own.
Ooh, look at that. Ian says, well, that price, you may need to wire it all with coat hangers. I love it. That's hilarious. Yeah. And good question. Can you write all this off? That should be.
It's a business expense.
I mean,
yes.
This will be his showroom.
But that's an interesting part for people to understand too, is it's not free money. Like it doesn't, that's not how this works at all.
Yeah, he doesn't quite print the money, and these aren't 3D printed 80-inch speakers either. So
it helps with taxes, but you're still spending the money.
Yeah, you still gotta. Yeah, wow, man. I'll be honest, man. I'm so excited for you. I think you're gonna have one of the craziest. Actually, you will have the craziest over the top systems I've ever experienced. Probably even comparing to the $1 million Star Wars home theater. I mean, because he didn't have anything like that in the bottom end.
We will see.
One area I think that he was.
People are probably going to come over and be like, "Man, Jonathan sounds better than this."
Yeah, well, do it right, man.
Jonathan is the de facto benchmark. You are. I mean, you absolutely are. Oh, where what you can do with not a whole lot.
Wow.
That's not what I meant.
Is that a backhanded compliment?
That's not what that came out wrong.
Oh boy.
I just meant because you've always been looking for deals. You've always you really pick based on the capabilities and price for performance. It's just what you've decided to do with your planning. That's all. That's what I meant. It just came out wrong. Jeez.
Look at the comments light up now.
I'm going to regret that one. Anyway, that did not come out right. But all I meant was Jonathan's theater, because that was how you've always explained it to me. Like you've always tried to find things. You bought all your speakers used. It wasn't that you had to. That's just what you wanted to do.
And I had to, because my wife wouldn't have gone for it. But it's all right. I know you're coming from.
That's not what I meant. But the reason I say it's a benchmark is because what you've been able to accomplish. Not that it's bad hardware, but people go out and spend, like me, I guess, tons of money, and then if you don't necessarily need to. That's all I meant.
I didn't take offense.
Yeah.
He's gonna get off and be like, Ryan, we're no longer friends, and just leave.
Can we take a collection for Jonathan? I like that, Randy. He does have a Patreon account. A Venmo. We'll drop his Venmo down in the chat. I love it. Ryan, show the balloon again. Oh, yeah. Celebrate. Hey, it's a party, man. We're excited.
I know how to do it now.
That's fun, man. I'm so excited for you, though. That's a man. Talking about, one thing I'm learning to do in my life right now is to begin to dream big, and you're exemplifying that. Like, this is a big dream. This is a big step. And what's that?
Just send it.
Full.
That's all you can do. Just
that's
go.
Cool, though. Well, and the reality is sometimes, but I don't think this is just, I mean, like, we're looking on the outside, looking in, going, this dude lost it. Like, that's insane. That's like a whole nother level that we've ever experienced. But again, you're looking at this from a business perspective, and hopefully, I mean, think about this in the big picture, guys. Let's say he does create this, and he creates this phenomenal Ascendo room, various processors and amplifiers, and just truly first class. Well, we know with social media, people are going to find out. There are going to be some wealthy people that say, hey, look, I want that in my setup. And they may reach out to him and go, hey, is there any way I could come and fly out? And that's one of the things Brian's doing. He's opening this up, says, absolutely. Oh, I like this. Ascend it. That's a cool phrase, man. Ascend it.
I mean, that's really what that thing is for. Right there.
Yeah, that 80-inch.
That's why no, it's not an 80-inch.
That's not, oh, you have the 50. That's right.
50.
Only 50 inch.
Only 50.
So
I mean, that's really why that came in, is because this is a big part of it. It's marketing. I mean, it's social media. I got to be able to show what can be done, because it's very easy to sell down. It's hard to sell up.
That is true.
You can't show the top, right?
Yeah.
People are always like, well, I'm fine with this. Why do I need more? Because of ignorance. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But if you can show, it's easier to go down. So it's,
I mean, maybe Snoop Dogg will want one.
We'll see.
Yeah. So this is a great point, man. If there's any way that you can film or document that, man, that's awesome.
I'm sure we will. I mean, you should come out when we're doing the Ascendo stuff. I'm sure Maurizio would love that.
Yeah.
And if
we work some out, I'll get up
if
there.
Todd and Jeffrey come out, we'll work something out.
Yeah, we can do some interviews with them. I think this will truly be, it could be a really.
So what I've told all the vendors that are involved is that this theater is not just for me. Yes, it's in my house, and yes, I get that could come across weird, but I told them, my vendors, if anybody wants to see anything, because I'm of the mindset, like with MWAVE, with Michael, that I just want the industry to be better than it was before I left it.
Yeah.
If any other vendor or dealer wants to showcase something, I have no problem opening my doors and selling for somebody else, because or just showcasing it, not even a sales thing, just saying, hey, you want to see something? Or if they want to see something, great. I just want people to see what is theoretically possible within the space. Because I think there's a lot of areas out there where people are misled, and I just want to be able to show what can be done. What?
Sorry, man. I love the chat. You guys are awesome.
50 Cent wants a 50-inch.
There's so many good ones in here, man. 50's a good one. Next on Crids. I love it.
So I saw the Ascendo 50 being sold by that home theater dude used on ABS for him if you need a second one for your model. First time I've seen a 50-inch for sale ever.
It's pretty cool. I saw it I shouldn't have gone to Atlanta Home Theater. I shouldn't have gone.
It was interesting. All right, so full transparency. I was at Atlanta Home Theater as well. And I knew the 50 was going to be there, and the Black Swans. And I mean, let's face it. We're all looking at that going, that's
I thought the same thing.
Like, why in the world? Who would need that? Is it going to be, we have this perception, not conception. That's kind of weird. We have this perception that, big subwoofers are slow and, they're just to break things and make loud noises kind of stuff.
I mean, it does break things and it makes loud noises.
But we got there and I was not expecting that.
No.
I mean, we were playing a crazy wide variety of music.
That room also sucked. That room was really bad. Yeah, and it had one acoustic treatment.
It was Alex's office. They cleaned it out so that they could make that another demo space.
But they all knew it was bad. Like all of them knew it was a really bad room, but that didn't matter.
And we still loved it. Does a 50 go low? How low does it go, Ryan? Like negatives?
I mean, it doesn't go as low as like you think it would. The 50, the 30, actually the 50s never had a spinorama done on it. The 32 has. The 32 will do over 105 dB at 5 hertz.
Okay, so
on
definitely
a clipple. So that's without room gain. So it'll.
Did you say on a clipple? How does that fit on a clipple?
Maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Because that has to sit on the top, man, and rotate.
I don't know. That's just the near field measurement. Okay, near field measurement.
I don't think
it wasn't a clipple. It was a near field measurement. It wasn't a spinorama.
Yeah, it's a 5 hertz though.
So, I mean, I'd say that your room will go that low.
What's that, mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
flat to 5 hertz.
So it's not that I'm trying to reinvent the wheel in the low frequency, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to trying to get more output than what I already had with 5 4000s. It's just, it's really cool to experience that something that low and looking at a driver that doesn't look like it's moving. And you don't think it's moving until you have to go up and touch it, and then it is moving. So we'll see. See, it all comes together. I hope it doesn't suck.
No, I'm excited for you, brother.
So back on the room that you're shipping over here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to picture how that is. Is it like metal scaffolding, like almost like they make office cubicles with those kind of panels, or is it different than that? I'm like, I don't. Do you have pictures of what you expect?
So
to
it's
see?
kind of like, I mean, you guys know what like clips and channel looks like, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now take what looks like a 4x2 panel, like a sound panel, and there's just a bunch of those clipped on kind of thing. But each one has a different level, like every single one of those has a different level of absorption and diffusion. So the whole room is treated.
And you're doing treatments before you ever get their room too, right? Because you were talking about buying green glue on that void thread. Are you using that for their stuff or for stuff before?
So we're doing all of the wall cavities. So all of the actual timber studs that you saw in the room.
Yes.
I'll bring it back up. So let's do this, and let's do share this share. Okay, so not that. Okay, so you guys can see my mouse pointer. Okay, so like all of the timber studs in here have R13 in them currently. We'll fill all of this back in with R13, right? And then all of this already has, the ceiling has R13 in it. And then there's probably 1.5 feet up there still of empty space. We'll fill that with R30. So it'll be fully full. We're leveling off the box vault, so it's continuous. There won't be a box vault anymore. That'll be filled in with insulation. Then we're hanging clips and channel off of everything, and then doing 3/4 inch OSB, green glue, 3/4 inch OSB, and then the officina room attaches to that. So it's, the layers are officina, 3/4 inch, green glue, 3/4 inch, R13 is how it's all going to go. Or I guess clips and channel, R13 is how it'll all go through.
Does OSB have issues like breaking apart since it's kind of like chipboard? Or is that not a thing?
So.
I mean, the type of base levels you're talking about, is that an issue or something to be concerned about?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't know. I
It's
don't
all
have any
glued.
insight to it.
It's all glued. I mean, I wouldn't think it would be any worse than like gypsum or anything like that. I mean, it's all of your subfloor in your house is OSB. So I don't think your subfloor has any problems with it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You walk in the bedroom right above the home theater, the master bedroom, and it creaks like a stinker.
Well,
it didn't when I moved in. So,
but creaking, you're hearing the creaking from where it's attaching to the studs and the joists, not because of the OSB
off the carpet to look, but it's creaking.
The creaking is all from the attachment points. Like if you took everything off and then nailed everything back down, the creaking would go away.
Screwed it down.
Yeah, that would all go away. So I don't think it shouldn't have a problem. It's got the OSB has a better acoustical coefficient than drywall does. It's got more mass than drywall does, which is why I went that direction. We thought about Baltic birch, or not Baltic birch, but not OSB. What's the
like it's just a plywood or something?
No, not plywood. What's the other one that's like really ground up pieces?
HDF?
MDF.
MDF, HDF, yeah.
So we thought about doing like MDF, but the problem with MDF is we can't mount from it. It doesn't have the structural integrity that OSB does.
Right.
So I wouldn't be able to put the officina walls and stuff off of it. So that's why we decided to go that way. And then OSB has a better acoustical coefficient than traditional plywood. And I think it's stronger than traditional plywood because it's all like patched together and mixed together, and that's the room.
Those stores make now, I've seen it at Home Depot or Lowe's, it's like a plastic material that can be the same thickness as plywood. That's just plastic. I don't know if that'd be better or worse as far as a design, but it would be something to ask your designer.
I don't know that it would have the structural integrity for to hang off of it. That's our main worry is like the OSB or that wall being able to support the weight of the officina stuff that's going to attach to it. I mean, each sandwich is going to weigh almost 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Because each OSB board weighs 80 pounds, then the green glue, and then another piece of OSB. So it's a serious amount of mass that's going to be on all these walls and ceilings, all suspended from risset clips and channel.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works, if it makes sense. I liked it. I
don't know what you guys just said for the past 5 minutes because I've just been in Photoshop real quick trying to make something happen. Perspective is not right, but I'm like, just make it.
When I first saw that Star Wars theater that you did, I thought it would have been super cool to put a 50 back there because it would look like the Death Star.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
I thought that would have been super cool.
Yeah. Well, I talked to him and I was like, afterward, he asked me, he said, "Hey, what do you think about my room?" I said, "Honestly, it sounds phenomenal. This is a beautiful room. It's gorgeous." But I said, my personal opinion, I wish you had a little bit more bass, and especially in the lower frequencies. And he's like, "Really? Okay, cool." And I'm like, "That's just me." I said, "This may be perfect for you, but for me," and he was considering a Sendo. Charlie actually came, him and his wife, Michelle, they came up to Atlanta Home Theater to hear it and demo it. So who knows? We may see some Ascendo later on down the road in Charlie's theater, but yeah, I had to share that with you. Fun stuff, man. Super pumped for you, man. I think it's going to be an amazing room, and some of our folks that have already registered for the VIP home theater experiences are going to get to hear that and experience that firsthand. So it's going to be
hopefully it doesn't suck.
No, there's no way.
Hopefully it's done.
Yeah.
So.
You got so much headroom though. If they're going to do that in 3 weeks, then you're scheduled just for a few weeks out.
Well, that's not my problem or what my worry. One of the other two worries are the officina stuff, which I'm not hugely worried about.
When is that shipping here? Because by boat from Italy,
it's a long time. So February timeline, somewhere in there. So you figure like 6 weeks by boat to get here, port, come up. So late March, early April is what we're planning. The main worry right now is beryllium because the Black Swans and the 15-inch coaxials with their compression drivers, I mean, they're all beryllium. So I think there's a beryllium shortage. So because of my room, no, that's the main worry from what I understand. And as Drop Zone says, customs. You never know what's going to happen with customs. Customs for Cedia in 2022 made that room almost not show up.
Yeah.
It showed up like 3 or 4 days late, and it was stuck in customs for like a month. But Officina has learned a lot from that, and we've got a guy in Houston that helps immensely with that stuff, and they bring stuff in all the time. So I don't really anticipate that being a problem. But one of the issues with projects of this size is you never know what's going to happen. So I'm trying to get things done early enough that if something happens, we have time to adjust for it.
Yeah. You gonna put that 50 on a Lazy Susan, bring it to a MWAVE. That'd be awesome, man.
That would be cool.
Oh, no. It would be the Lazy Susan. Like you could
we
put
could just vibrate the sub around as other subs rode the 50.
So while you're talking here, I looked up beryllium because I know it's an element, but I don't know anything about it. Like, why are we using beryllium? Beryllium is toxic to humans. It's a skin irritant. You can't touch it. Are they going to coat it? What's going on with beryllium?
No, it's once it's treated, it becomes non-toxic. It's before it goes through the treatment process, as I understand it, it's toxic, and then after, it's not.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
And not to put you on the spot, but I've never heard of beryllium tweeter. I don't think. What is
it's super hard.
Really lightweight too, right?
And it's super light,
move fast.
So it reaches distortion at a much later point than other materials. Is the reason why it's desirable for tweeters, from what I understand. So like in your issue with some of the speakers you've been testing, they run into heat issues. Beryllium doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's the cone. The cone is one thing. The thermal compression would be based on the wire windings and the magnetic structure and the motor structure. The beryllium's not in the motor, right?
No.
I'm not a speaker designer, so I'm talking out of my element here.
I'm talking out of my ass too.
But it would seem like the cone, if you needed something that I'm reading in the comments, people are saying it's 2.5 times the distortion level breakup. If you're talking about that, you're talking about like the cone's no longer keeping its uniform shape, whether that's flat or concave or whatnot. It's no longer keeping that. Why couldn't you just make the moving mass a little higher and use a thicker piece of steel or whatever, aluminum for that matter, that doesn't bend under the force that the motor is providing? Like, I don't understand. Like, again, I'm not a engineer,
sure,
but I don't understand it either.
Don't know. This is out of my element.
Hey, I mean, for those of you,
all I know is when I was in Atlanta Home Theater and listened to that, I turned to Jeffrey and Todd and just went.
It didn't take him long either.
No, it took me like a second to know.
He looked over at Jeffrey and goes, "Dang, I already know what I want." Like, that was quick. We're talking minutes.
Seconds.
Like, let me go back and let's have a conversation with my wife. No, I was like, this is where I want to go.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out. Yeah, so apparently a lot of speaker manufacturers use it. Of course, Perlison uses it.
If Perlison uses it, then I have heard it.
Yeah,
right.
Perlison has it.
You've heard it in more places than you think you've heard it, Jonathan. Focal Utopias have it. The Perlisons have it. I didn't know Revel did, but I think a lot of upper end ones.
Revel, yeah. So pretty much like some of the really higher end ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ivan's room is Revel, so I've heard Ivan's room. If his Revels have beryllium, then
I don't know if those Revels do.
Yeah.
I think it's the ones above the BE series that use beryllium. But no, BE would mean beryllium.
Beryllium. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I never even put that 2 and 2 together.
Yep.
Nice. He said he's got beryllium in his JBL SK2 3000s.
Interesting. Drop Zone says we need an MWAVE shirt that says "Ask me about my beryllium."
I love it.
Hat tip to the Galaxy Quest comment that made me laugh.
Oh my gosh.
Brilliant.
I need to go back and watch that movie.
I watched that one fairly recently. That's a classic.
Oh, what a dumb movie. But an amazing movie. Ranks right up there with Mystery Men.
This is kind of interesting about the beryllium. Randy says for domes with identical masses, beryllium is 7 times more rigid than titanium or aluminum. The latter two well known for their rigidity.
So what about like carbon fiber? Why wouldn't that be a?
I don't know if you can make a speaker out of carbon fiber.
You can make
like the tweeter part.
The cone is what we're talking about, right?
I don't know.
Is beryllium moist? I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. Want to jump to some questions?
Do we need an updates? We talked about the movie that's going to be The Abyss. We talked about my theater. Talked about everybody's location.
Update the MWAVE.
Don't think so.
All right, let me take a drink. And this is water. Somebody said, Youthman's got his mixed drink in there or something. Like, that mix, it's water. Hey, he said Paradigm Persona also has Berlin. B&W has grown diamond tweeters for the same reason, use higher breakup frequency. Oh, yeah. Ryan said not the driver, but the tweeter. All right, cool, man. All right, let's jump into some questions. If you got questions, drop them in the chat. We're probably not going to go super long tonight, so I'm going to try our best to wrap this up in about 30, 35 minutes. All right, so we're going to...
Michael's tired.
No, Michael's got to work. I got a project that I told them I would have done tomorrow. It's for a local pregnancy care center. I designed their newsletter brochure that they mail out to their clients, and so I got to get that done tonight for them. John says, about to pull the trigger on 2 rows of Valencia Barcelona seats. I know a few of you have sat in them at MWAVE this past year. I hate to buy sight unseen. What were your thoughts on them? So we did have 4 different versions at MWAVE. We had the, let's see, Barcelona. We had the Naples. We had the Tuscany, and we had the Oslo. So did y'all get a chance to sit in the Barcelonas?
I like the Barcelona.
So it's a different form factor. So we've got
very much like Jonathan's seats.
Mm-hmm. So it's a shorter headrest.
I'm not going to comment on this because I've got a heavy body, and I don't think I like the same seats other people like. Mm-hmm. So read from that what you might.
No, and it's okay if they weren't for you. That's totally cool.
Yeah, I mean, I weigh 285 pounds. I need a seat that has a little bit more spring in it, a little bit more support, a little larger seat. So I'm not the right person to get advice from unless you're a big guy like me.
Yeah.
Wasn't there, and I think they're still available, didn't Valencia have those 2 rows of Barcelonas that I sent you about, that you sent out to the patrons like a month ago?
Oh, yeah, they did.
They're not black. They're gray.
Mm-hmm. Did they ever sell those?
I don't think so. John, there's 2 rows of them too.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to the sales
Here we go
tab on Midwest AV Experience and send us an email, because I'll find out from Peter. They had some ones that were done in the wrong color.
Oh, you're right. Thank you, Nicholas.
And
right.
They're significantly cheaper. So we may be able to save you some money.
So I have a question for both of you guys, because you're both lighter weight than me. Yeah. If you went to like Nebraska Furniture Mart,
lighter weight than you, Jonathan.
If you went to like Nebraska Furniture Mart, or if you went to like Missouri Mall or whatever furniture store you like, and you go and you sit in the different home theater seats, like just down the line. Mm-hmm. I've done that in multiple stores, multiple times.
Yeah.
Majority comfortable, majority uncomfortable to you and your body style.
I haven't been. We don't have there's nowhere you can go to in my area that you can check out home theater seats. So my only experience is when doing like a home theater tour. And then numerous Valencia, I've experienced row 1 and Audio Advice Live, or Audio Advice, their theater seats.
So I would say majority uncomfortable.
That's me. Yeah. I'm right there. So to me, to buy something blind is tough, because if I go down the line, I'm like, all right, I feel the lumbar support there. I can feel the steel rod, the shoulders. I'm 6'3", so the shoulder's making me crunch over like this. It's making me in a squat position. That doesn't work. There's like, if you got an average sized body, you're probably in a lot better shape. But if you're atypical anyway, don't blind buy. That'd be my strong advice there, because it took me a long time to find stuff I liked, unfortunately.
Yeah. And the reality is it's kind of weird too, because what I think is comfortable and what I feel is comfortable isn't always to somebody else.
Right.
Some people, like you said, the lumbar is real big for some people. Like to me, I don't really want a lumbar, but some people really need that, or they want that. And sometimes they feel the lumbar when they shouldn't feel the lumbar, or the lumbar, that they've implemented into the seat isn't comfortable for them.
Jonathan, you liked the Valencia Tuscany Ultimates.
I like those top end Valencias a lot that you had in your theater. I like those a lot. And the ones that Bliss has in his theater, Kyle.
The Oslos.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
But then I've sat in Valencia's before where I'm thinking like I can feel the metal structure of this. That there's like a piece of rebar in my back.
They're really expensive. Valencia's really expensive seats use a different and a more rigid foam than the cheaper stuff. And I think that was one reason why I really liked them, was because I didn't sink into them. Like I felt like I was sitting on something that was substantial. And I'm about the same weight as Jonathan is, and I'm almost 6'5". So I know exactly what he's talking about. I will say that I haven't sat in the Barcelonas for extended periods of time, but they didn't bother me when I did sit in them. So I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Somebody in here said get car seats, and that reminded me your new electronic truck, the electric truck, that seats in that thing.
Yes.
Holy smokes, those are comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes, if you can get those for a theater.
Those are comfortable. They would look weird though.
Yeah. Be kind of interesting. Hey, but here's the good thing. You'd have seat belt for your guest. Yeah, baby.
Strap into that 50.
A little aggressive.
You're about to light up the 50.
Yeah.
So people have been saying that we've missed some super chats.
I did. Yeah, that was totally. So here's the one thing. And I'm going to send not Patreon. I'm going to send StreamYard an email tonight. They automatically star the super chats for us. And so right now I'm looking at a list of things that we starred questions, but I would love for them to be able to either put super chats up top or at least have another tab that says, okay, these are super chat tabs, because they get buried in this long list of, so yeah, we'll hit those. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. That was, let me give a shout out over here. Who was it? Nicholas. Appreciate that, brother. So you guys keep me straight, man. I love it. So Nicholas, appreciate the $15 super chat. Come on, guys. Help me pull the trigger on JTR RS2s or ULF dual 6000s shipped to Australia. ULF is an additional $3,000 over the RS2. What do I get? Ported, sealed? I need to make the right decision. First thing, like maybe tell us how big your room is. That would be good to know. I know for my room, I've heard the 6000 ULF, crazy subwoofer. I've got 2 RS2s in my theater room. For my room's 13 by 19, 10-foot ceilings. I don't need any more output. I have way more output than I need in that room with 4 18s in the sealed configuration. I love the fact that they fit. Really, the 4000 ULS wouldn't fit anywhere in my room, especially not behind my screen. So the RS2s are much slimmer profile for me. So they worked out great. I love the fact that they're all the same size as my 212 HTR. So aesthetically, it looks awesome. But you know, I don't have any port noise at all. They dig super deep, tons of output. So in my room, it works great. I love the RS2s, but it's definitely a different kind of experience. It's not quite as violent as a ported driver. The 4000 ULS and the 6000 ULS, they can be a bit aggressive, man. They'll shake you up. So what are your thoughts?
If he uses the Wayback Machine, he can probably find an objective test on database for that, because he tested both those drivers.
Nice.
And the difference is going to be around port tune. It should have 6 to 10 dB more just in general, because it's going to use the same drivers.
Okay. So his room's about the same size as my room. So
yeah,
my 13, 19, 10-foot ceilings.
I think
the
important factor in this comment is that the 4000 or the 6000 is $3,000 more than the RS2.
Yeah.
Do the RS2.
Yeah. I think for that size room, dude, I mean, you're not going to need more output. That's for sure. And so I was telling Jonathan the other day, in my room, I've got these funky knolls, man. And it's probably where my seating is because of room modes. And so to get that, I've told you, my room is flat down to 5 hertz. To get flat in my room, I literally have to do a house curve that basically happens at the bottom of that null. And so I've lost a good amount of output. And I'm telling you, I don't even know that I'm missing output. I mean, the amp is still at half volume. There's stupid amounts of bass in my room. Everything's, falling apart kind of stuff. So yeah, they're pretty phenomenal, to be honest with you. So I think for that size room, dude, and especially, I mean, so yeah, so I guess 2 of them would be an additional 3,000, I'm guessing, shipped. I have no problems recommending the RS2s, that's for sure. What are your guys' thoughts?
Given the price difference, RS2, no question.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Captivators fit in most people's rooms. They're too big.
It's massive. It's a big sub for sure.
And people don't realize it until they see them in person.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Grant came over today and goes,
"Oh,
"Oh
wow." Here's what I recommend you do. If you ever want to buy something, look up the specs online, figure out the size. And when we look at numbers, that doesn't really represent much in our head. Like Ryan says, you get it to the house and like, oh, wow, I knew it was big, but I didn't know it was this big.
They're big.
Mask that joker out. Like put some masking tape on the ground and build a cardboard box or something so that you physically can see this represented in your room. And you may be like, oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. But cool, man. I think you would love it. I really do. So
RS2.
I want to see if I can pull that site up that I was mentioning.
Okay.
I'm trying to go to the Wayback site. So you can go to the next question. If I can get it, I'll pull it up in a minute.
Dwayne Harris, appreciate the love. Help me out, Ryan, if you're able to jump back and find his super chat and just see if there was a question with that or if he's just sharing the love. But either way, we'll try to check that out. And Dwayne, if you did have a question, feel free to just copy and paste or retype it, and we'll start real quick and we'll come back.
I do not see any other starred comments from Dwayne.
Okay. Well, we may not, like, we may have missed that.
I've been trying to star him.
Okay, perfect. Michael Walker, appreciate the $2 super chat. What's your opinion? AWOL 3000 Pro 120-inch screen. So AWOL is one of the ultra short throw projectors, correct? AWOL.
No idea.
3000. I'm pretty sure it's one of the ultra. Yeah. So I will pull this up. So number one, I do not have any experience with AWOL. So it is an ultra short throw projector. Relatively new company. I say relative new company. Let me take that back. I have recently heard of it, and it's only because I've got some folks online that have reviewed that. Here we go, AWOL. So, I mean, we're seeing a lot of these brands kind of pop up. I mean, there's so many. I get emails probably weekly from different ultra short throw brands, and it just seems like it's definitely a trend. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different brands that are getting into this space. How many of them use similar parts and similar, you know what I'm saying? Is this, what I don't know is how many of these are like rebranded kind of things that I don't know, but I'm not real familiar. So I would just recommend going on YouTube, searching for AWOL reviews. I'm wanting to say my buddy Tony from Australia with Build Montage. I believe he's reviewed one of the AWOLs, maybe even more. But I personally just haven't had any experience with them.
I found that I've actually databases back up. So you know how we've been lamenting them down?
Really?
It's back online.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Share it, man.
Let me share a screen here.
Okay.
All right. Tell me if you can see it.
Sir, go ahead.
Yep.
So this is the long-term sweeps, the compression sweeps out there. And this is outside at 2 meters. So not even 1 meter, because these subwoofers are so powerful. And not just this one. This place tests all kinds of crazy subwoofers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're so powerful, they can't measure at 1 meter because it clips the mic. So they go back 2 meters instead of 1 meter. And it's outside this, so there's no room gain. This is the ULF 4000. So it's actually the smaller amplifier.
Yeah.
And if you look at this outside with no room gain,
that's insane.
At 15 hertz, it's getting reference volumes at 15 hertz outside at 2 meters with no boundary gain. Yeah. And then so you can see this last sweep's compressing, the second to last sweep's compressing, whatever. But the output up here is at like 125 outside. Mm-hmm. Now, if you scroll down here, you can compare the two and compare the S2 versus the ULF 4000. Mm-hmm. The S2 is the black line, and the ULF 4000 is the blue line.
Yeah.
And so if we're looking at 15 hertz again, this is both outside, the same guy measuring it, same mic equipment.
Yeah.
The S2 is at 105 dB. So with room gain, you depending on your room, if you're corner loading them, you'll probably get that boundary gain you need, like Michael's experience. If you're not corner loading them, or if you don't have a small room, you might not get enough room gain to do that at 15. To get your 115 at 15 hertz. The ULF 4000 will, and the ULF 4000 bests the RS2 for everything.
Yeah.
Above 6 hertz.
Really, really low. Yeah.
I mean, it's effectively everything, because
Yeah,
nobody
sure.
nobody really is chasing stuff at 6 hertz. There's hardly any content down there.
Yeah.
And is this a significant besting? It really kind of is.
Yeah.
So we're talking at least 5 dB across most of the bandwidth, and in some cases more like 10 dB.
Yeah.
And a doubling of subs, if they're not co-located, is only 3 dB. So if you got two of these S2s and they're not stacked up or sitting side by side exactly, so you put one in the left side room and one on the right, you get 3 dB more, generally speaking. That's not coming close to this ULF 4000. So it really boils down to probably how much output you think you need, right? Because the ULF 4000 and therefore the ULF 6000 are significantly more capable subs if you need the output. But like Michael's saying, he doesn't need more output. So there's no real advantage to him if he doesn't have a need to turn it up louder.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any questions based on that little?
I'm glad that site's back up though.
It is, man. And so if you guys want to do your own research on it, go to systems, go to database. It's data-base.com. You can go in here and you can see everything he's ever measured. And then you can click on the one you want. So in this case, I went to Captivator 4000 ULF. And you can go down and read the whole review. Like this guy knows what he's talking about. It's Josh Ritchie. And he's been on the forums for a long time and kind of started doing this for a while and then backed out and the site went down because nobody was paying for it. And I'm glad somebody paid for it again to get it come back up.
Yeah.
At any rate, if you want to compare it to another product, you just type in the product you want to compare it to here. So if I want an S2, then I click add. Now I'm looking at the 4000 plus the S2. So a lot of the graphs will have both of those subwoofers in the comparison. And there's a forum here that's got tons of good information on it from guys that really know their stuff. This isn't a greenhorn forum where people are coming in here and spouting off nonsense. These guys really know what they're talking about, and they really know how to do the measurements and like the design of speakers and horns and to put a point to that. Let me show you something here. I'm gonna go back off the forums. Josh, the guy that owns this site, is a sub designer himself. And he's built some incredible subs. This is, I think, the most powerful sub he's ever measured on here. And he built it. It's his design.
Okay.
It's got 4 19-inch Rockford Fosgates in it. One sub. And look at the output on this guy. Scrolling down the output. Outside, one sub, almost 140 dB. And if you go to one of these charts has like the highest ever output these ever measured. Here it is. Okay, so this all-time max is any subwoofer on the site at any frequency. So you know how some subwoofers are better at different frequencies and so forth. Like you might Pro Audio sub that's really good at 80 hertz.
Okay.
This Zod almost is at the top of anything he's measured. There's one sub, and that actually might be an orbit shifter. I'd have to go back and look, but it might be the orbit shifter. That's up here at 40 hertz, got a little bit of advantage. But that tells you like this, I mean, that's his design. It's like a complicated bandpass box. It's not just like a ported box. He's got all kinds of complication with the way he built this thing. The internal, design. So yeah, very cool site, very cool to check out. Give it a look.
So that's kind of like the Cybertruck of subwoofers.
Those drivers are super pricey. Those Rockford Fosgate 19s are considered by many to be the best subwoofer driver that's ever been released.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's beefy.
$2,500 each.
And he's got
four of them in that design.
Yeah.
All right. Back to your regular scheduled program.
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you finding that, man. And the fact that that's back up. So definitely, man, if you're into subwoofers, go to the website, show him some love. I'm sure there's got to be at least a place on there that they can contribute somewhat. So I love it. That's pocket change for Ryan. I love it.
Shouldn't have said anything.
I'm not, man. That's hilarious, dude. Cool stuff, man. All right, we got a couple more super chats. We'll hit those. Bro, smile. Appreciate it, man. I'm always smiling. $10 super chat. Dimension DM70. So that's from Definitive Technology. $3,100. Is this a worthy buy? What are my alternative options? I'm reading reviews of failures after the first year. So I'm assuming, I think the Dimension, let me look it up, but I think it's got that active speaker like the woofers. Dimension 70. We'll see if we can pull them up here. And these are from Definitive Technologies. Yeah, there we go. These are their large tower speakers. So I reviewed some of them on my channel. I'll be up front. I mean, they're not my favorite speaker. It's a different type of speaker. They've got, if I remember correctly, they've got I'm trying to find a, oh, here we go. Yeah, let me share this. You can kind of see. Here we go. So they've got drivers that fire in the front, but then they also have drivers that fire in the rear of the speaker. So it's kind of like a bipolar design in the mid-range and in the high frequencies as well, which that's definitely, it's different. It's supposed to provide a more kind of spacious type sound where it's kind of more enveloping in the room. I think my ears kind of prefer a more direct kind of sound, if that makes sense. So this again goes back to, if you can at all possible, go hear a pair, because you need to find out if you like that type of sound. So they do have the built-in 10-inch subwoofers. So these are the ones I reviewed. So I do have a review on the channel. Take a look at them. I enjoyed them, but they're not like, looking at all the different speakers I've ever heard and owned and reviewed and experienced in home theaters. It's a different type of sound. So, but I imagine the failure that you're hearing people is probably the amplifier in it. Not necessarily like just the drivers failing, because most of the time speaker drivers aren't going to fail unless you're just driving them super, super hard and beyond their capability. Thoughts? Definitive Technology, DM70s?
I never heard them, but I agree with some of your thoughts, and some of the comments thoughts were bipolar, tripolar, all that kind of stuff. The fancy things with drivers front and back, it's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit these days with object-based audio. Even Dolby and so forth will recommend not using them if you can.
Yeah. So it might be, I mean, again, probably like a 2-channel setup. Again, if that's a type of sound that you're looking for, it can be, probably better than a home theater speaker. So that's Youth Man's nice way of saying they weren't near the top. Well, I mean, no, they're definitely not near the top of what I've experienced. I've heard many, many, many systems that would far exceed that. But yeah, man. But again, I would recommend, if you can, go check them out, find somebody that's got them, and then make a decision on whether or not you like them. Dwayne Harris, appreciate the $5 super chat. What do you look for before buying a Savant, or maybe Control 4? I'm having issues with the Savant, a big box installed, which was a transmitter receiver box. So I don't have a lot of experience on the CI end of it. So maybe Ryan, you can speak to this. And Jonathan, have you experienced with Savant?
I don't have anything to add to that. No,
okay.
Sorry.
So Ryan, this is all you, brother.
Why are you making me big?
Hey, you told us earlier you're like 6'13".
Focus in to let him hear you say don't know. It's okay if you don't know. If we don't have experience, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, if you have experience, let's hear it. But otherwise,
you probably experienced like Control 4.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff can get really complicating really fast and can get really expensive. So I don't know what's going on there. I think another comment I saw, I think he was having problems with Dolby Vision or something.
So Dwayne adds something. Let me just throw this in real quick. He says, correction on my super chat, I was sold the wrong Savant system.
Well, then you were sold the wrong Savant system.
Give that man a refund. We don't know how to help him.
Yeah, I mean, Savant's cool, and it can do a lot of stuff for home automation.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know how relevant they are if you're doing them for one room deployments. It's a lot of money for not a lot of capability. And there's a lot of times people run into issues with them. It's just, I don't know that I would go down that path if you didn't have to. They get really expensive.
Yeah.
And usually with MadVR, if we're running into problems on a deployment and a signal chain, it's almost always some type of distribution system, switcher, splitter, Balun, something like that that's causing problems.
And really, the more complex your system gets, the more potential for something to fail.
Potentially. Yeah, the more complex the signal chain gets, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you recommend if not those companies? Do you have a brand that you do like?
What are you trying to accomplish, though? I mean, I just do everything through Siri. I mean, if you're talking about just a universal remote, I have no idea yet.
There's not good options yet. Yeah. So in the custom integration side, there's Savant, Control4, Crestron, Ava. I think those are kind of the main four. Ava supposedly, at least people have told me that at CEDIA they kind of shared they either came out with a remote or coming out with a remote that possibly might be able to be programmed by users, which that's exciting to me, but I haven't heard that from them. When I reached out to them, it's been over a year ago. They said, no, we're really just custom integration. You need a dealer to program it. That's really just not what I'm kind of sharing with my audience. I'd rather find something that you guys can program on your own, set up, configure. For those of you that want to do that, some people just rather pay somebody, let them set it up, and they're not really going to change, but every couple of years. And for that, they'll just let the dealer update, which is no problem. The Harmony, we know they went out of business. They've shut down.
They didn't go out of business. Logitech pulled the plug on that.
Yeah, I get okay. So not out of it. They're not making any new Harmonies, put it that way. That's what I mean by out of business. So Harmony is not really an option now. I mean, yes, you can buy used ones. You can buy some of the Harmonies that haven't been sold brand new, but I'm trying to find something that's replacing them. There are a couple companies. I had one company reach out to me not too long ago, so they're working on something. It's kind of in the early stages, so really can't share a whole lot about that. It used to be called YIO Remote 2. Now it's called Unfolded Circle Remote 2. So I guess they changed the branding on that. They have recently begun to ship those products to consumers. So they're out in the wild. There's been some feedback. You can go to their forum and see what users are saying there. I haven't totally kept up on it. But I haven't had experience with it, so I don't know what it's like. They're not going to have the database that Harmony did. That's one thing that was nice about Harmony. You could plug in Marantz AV10, boom, you already got the codes. NZ9, boom, you got the codes. Made it really easy, user-friendly. So these other systems are going to take a while before they can even come close to that, because they just don't have the resources to have that type of database, and Harmony's not selling that, at least as of yet. So that would be, the big challenge there. And then there's some hiccups and some bugs they're going to have to work through. So, but that's really the only one that I've seen that really comes close to being able to be user. I'm looking at a comment. Mikey says, Youthman, did you ever get a lead on that split circle remote? I think that's what you're talking about. I don't know about a split circle, but Unfolded Circle was the name of the brand. So
you said you wanted to rocket through these, and
I'm trying. All right. Grouch. Just kidding.
What?
I'm just kidding, man. I just want to see a reaction. Golf Addict, appreciate the $5 super chat or Canadian super chat. Your thoughts on Fluance AI81 powered towers plus a 10-inch subwoofer? Would that be a passable sounding TV setup? Can get it for 900 Canadian.
Never used it.
I haven't used Fluance. I don't have any experience with them. Jonathan?
Same. Sorry, fellas.
Yeah. And it's hard,
I feel
man.
bad.
There's so many different brands out there. I've heard good things about Fluance, but I just personally Fluance. That's funny.
Will it be passable for a TV room? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. I think they provide, they look slick, man. Fluance, let me look at the model real quick. AI81.
It's got a little amp on the back.
81.
Looks like 6.5-inch drivers.
Oh, B1. I'm sorry. AI B1 is the. So these are about 500 a piece. Share that. See, Jonathan, you should just share your screen, man. I'm slow.
I'm sure that would be fine for a TV room.
The one little caveat we'll give you is just general advice is that where the towers are isn't always the best place for your subwoofer. Now, because these are built-in subwoofers and you're talking about that, you probably are thinking you don't need a subwoofer, and that may or may not be true for your placement. But if you were really trying to get critical about it, then you might find better placement if you were able to move the sub. If you just want to drop them in and have sound and better than TV by any stretch of the imagination, then sure, this will probably do the trick.
Is that sub on the bottom then?
I don't see it in any pictures, so I'm not sure where it is on the page I'm looking at.
Or is it really not a sub and it's just an active speaker? Maybe that's what it is. Guys, let us know in the chat if you're familiar with this brand. I'm wondering if it's just a powered. Okay, so it says powered by an integrated 150 watt amplifier, these active floor standing speakers. So yeah. So this isn't, it's not like the definitive technology where the tweeter and the mid-range drivers are passive and then the subwoofers are built into the cabinet. They're active. I think this is literally powering these dual 6.5-inch woofers. So Jonathan, you could even speak to that as well. Again, talking generalities, you've shared in the past a lot of times about 6.5-inch drivers.
Yeah, I mean, those are not going to be reference capable if he cares. But for a TV room, I don't think most people care. I don't even care for a TV room. If it's a home theater room, I care.
Right.
But it's it's got your traditional soft dome 1-inch driver, and traditionally that can't do it.
So the sub is separate. So if he's saying, can I do this with a 10-inch sub? Does that make a cool system? I think so. So if you're just trying to do a 2.1 system, heck yeah, man. Be way better than your TV speakers. Even not hearing them. I guarantee it will be. But yeah, I just don't have any experience directly with the brand.
Do you feel like this is something, and we already kind of talked about my affinity for the used market, but I sure feel like you could probably just go on like Facebook Marketplace equivalent, whatever you have there, and find something like this for a couple $100 versus those for a 900 new. Because he's saying 900, we're seeing 500 on the site, so I'm assuming it's new for 900. I would call that probably like a traditional audiophile speaker, and I think there's a million ways you can skin that cat, and you can probably save yourself up to 2/3 to 3/4 of the price by buying used if you're willing to. And then you can flip them if you get what you say. You pick something up and you're not a huge fan of it, you can flip them and sell them for the same price you bought them and try something until you get something you do like. That was kind of like some of the fun that I've enjoyed through these different electronic hobbies in the years. Is you buy it at a good price, you sell it the same price after you experience it for a while, you move on to the next gear and you get some exposure and experience that way.
Yeah, definitely nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so it could be they may have a Facebook Marketplace up there in Canada. I don't know. So Brad Gibson, appreciate the follow super chat. Hey guys, love the channel. Appreciate it, man. I watch every Sunday. Question: what's your opinion on Stark Audio? Man, we get this question a lot too.
It's a lot of capability or spec for $1,000 for two when they go on sale.
Yeah, sometimes they do BOGO options, man, and that's always a good thing. You can get something for half off.
I've never heard them. Well, no,
you heard them, Keith's.
We've heard them at Keith's, and they did really well.
Yeah, he's real happy with them. I haven't got to measure them yet, but he's real happy with them. And he had, I mean, for what it's worth, he had the RTJ 18s in there, which he said were better.
Okay.
But he was borrowing those from Ryan just, after MWAVE for fun.
Yeah.
Just one of our local group here. And then decided he didn't want to spend that much. There was nothing wrong with him. He just didn't want to spend that much. So he went with stock or Stark. And he says, for the money, these are fantastic. And he's not, I only say that to say it's not like he hasn't had exposure to good subs. He's had good subs in his room. Yeah. And he says these are good subs. So for what it's worth.
Cool. Great comment here from Ridge. Said, Ryan, finally got to lean in on the ULF 4000 that I bought from you. Could not be happier. That's always good to hear, man. You guys need anything, reach out to Ryan. He'll hook you up, man.
For clarification, those were the used 4000s that came out of my room.
I appreciate it, man. So Golf Addict, appreciate the super chat here. Youth Man, I want to thank you. It was because of your review that I got the Kanto Tux and the S8 sub for my desktop setup. Sounds awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, man. Kanto Tux are a cool little speaker, man. So those are active, small, kind of bookshelfish speakers, little monitors, but they can be great in a home office setup, especially if your room isn't super huge. Paired with a subwoofer, man, that's fantastic. I love it. All right, let's scroll up here. Did I hit all the super chats? Oh, we did. Fantastic. Oh, man, just got another one. Do you guys tow in the side surround speakers? Appreciate it, Kelly. The super chat. Your side surround speakers. You don't really need to tow those.
I aim them directly at the main listening position.
So in essence, you do tow them in then.
Mm-hmm. You can see in my room, I do.
Yeah, yours are angled. Mine are not. They are. So my side surrounds are pretty close to, well, they're slightly behind the main listening position. So probably 100 degrees. So I think the recommendation is like 90 to 110. So mine are not. But you aim them directly at yours. So you tow them in.
Mine are not quite exactly at it, but it's leaning more forward than back. So because I got the 2 rows, I'm trying to kind of split it a little bit with a little preference towards the front.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have a single row, you should. I don't know any reason you shouldn't tow them in towards your main listening position.
Yeah, I've got them kind of split, kind of in between my 2 rows.
And by tow in, maybe we need to clarify on that. I'm just talking about aim them at the main listening position.
I think that's what
versus towing them in. Towing them would usually be a little bit further than that, potentially, right? Or potentially, depending on how he's reading it.
Typically, when you talk about tow in, it's with 2, your front, left, and right. And you're towing them. You're like angling them towards your main listening position instead of just straight on. So that's kind of the way I took that. But feel free to kind of give us some more context on that, Kelly, if we answered that question correctly. All right, here we go. Lightning round. Hey, Leon, just watched Godzilla -1 this last week.
That one already.
Boom, gone. Next one. Varun. Sorry about that. What high-end stereo towers are good for drum and bass? What is a drum and bass? Talking about like bass on a drum?
I mean, anything that can reach a certain frequency.
Yeah.
I don't think you want a quality sub for that more. And then just a speaker that integrates well with that crossover.
I mean, if he's just talking about trying to run a 2.0 system, 2 speakers, would you recommend something that has some bigger woofers in it?
Yeah, Martin Logan F200s. The bigger per listens. I mean, you just need something with bigger woofers in it. Is really what it's going to come down to. And make sure that those woofers actually perform. JTR is a really good one. That would be perfect.
So Ryan says that's a genre. So 30 to 50 hertz kind of range.
Oh,
I never heard of drum and bass. But most are going to play 30 hertz to 50 hertz, though. I don't know too many tower speakers that don't go below or down to 30.
At what minus though? A lot of them are down significantly at that frequency.
I mean, I'm still. I would recommend a. He's saying he's got $5,000 to $10,000 budget. That's pretty significant. Speakers.
If that's what you listen to, JTR. because they're going to be able to get, like, if you do the 215s, they're going to be able to get way down.
215s can handle that easy.
Oh, yeah.
MW says Genelec 8050B.
Genelec solid.
They measure well.
They measure
Isn't that
really
just
well.
a monitor? What's that 8050B? Let me look that up.
They're normally active speakers.
They're all active, if I remember right.
8050B, yeah. Studio monitors.
Well, and that's definitely not going to get down that low.
It's got an 8-inch woofer. Frequency down to 32 hertz, at least what they claim.
Does it have a minus though?
6 dB.
Yeah.
I don't think a studio monitor is the right.
No. And at what volume was that measured? I mean, that's kind of where that goes. I mean, the higher you go, the worse that could potentially get. JTR is my answer. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said about that. If you're trying to get towers that get low, that's the direction you go.
Throw this in chat real quick. Somebody was asking about the database link. Just dropped it in the chat. Schmock says, question, if I have Crix Megaphonics flat LCR, 95 dB sensitive, so pretty efficient there, 10 foot from my main listening position, am I correct in saying I need approximately 60 watts to reach reference? Oh man, he's gonna.
You need more than that because you got fall off a distance. There are SPL calculators.
Oh, that's without taking into account room gain, though.
Go to, just type in SPL calculator as a web search. There's multiple different versions. And you want to get one that has listening distance as part of the equation. And they're going to be rough estimates. They're not going to be perfect. I got one pulled up here, 60 watts. Listening distance. How far is your listening distance? Did he say?
10 foot.
So let's just use 3.5 meters or something. A little longer than that. It's close to, you got close to wall. Yeah, I mean, that's what this one's saying, actually. 105 dB is at 60 watts. So he must have already done the calculator.
There you go.
Now, that's if that speaker is truly 95 dB sensitive, because these places are notorious for.
Yeah. If he's using an external amplifier, just about most amplifiers are going to be able to easily handle 60 watts. Get one like 100 watts per channel, you'd be good to go.
Well, I don't know that I would say that. It depends on what the distortion coefficient is for the amplifier, what it's doing when it goes full load. We're not taking the room into equation. We're not, because remember, if he just to get 3 more dB out of that, he's got to double to 120.
Yeah, sure.
So you're not.
Oh, I see.
EQ comes into that now. So if he's got to EQ and boost any frequencies over, say he's got to boost something, not that you would want to, but he's boosting like 6 dB. Well, now it's 240 watts.
Odyssey can boost up to 9 dB, so even worse.
Yeah.
To your point.
Don't limit just because you necessarily think that you may not need something. Now, if you're not listening to reference, it becomes not nearly as much of a problem because you go 3 dB down from that and you're at 30 watts.
Yeah.
So it's
this looks like a pro audio type speaker with the surround and the paper woofer and stuff. It's probably legitimately 95 dB based on the driver look. And so and it handles 250 watts RMS, it says. So you got plenty of headroom. Just give it a little more amp if you need it.
Yeah.
Finster, Tyler, good to see you, man. He's one of my patrons. He's in Canada. On the speaker power plate amps, same one that JTR's use, there's an LF adjustment knob. What does that do, and what should it be set at for a DIY HST 18 in a 4 cubic foot sealed enclosure? So to me, and I've actually charted some frequency responses, when you adjust the LF frequency, it is doing just that. It's literally kind of EQing. I think I'm doing this right on the screen, the bottom end of your frequency. So depending on your room gain, depending on how that sub's interacting in the room and what your frequency response is, you may need to adjust that to get whatever desired, like that low end extension. So if you need a little bit of boost, you can increase that. If it's too much, then you can kind of bring that down and it'll adjust that. So it's kind of like a built-in, EQ, right?
I think it's to accommodate. You were right. I think it's to accommodate room gain, like depending on your placement and so forth. If you need to take away room gain or add room gain, it's kind of a generic way to do that.
Yeah. So again, I think the best thing, measure it, play with it, see what it looks like, and see what it sounds like in your room. Coil Man says new Mad Max is coming soon. Super cool.
Furiosa.
Great movie.
I haven't heard that. What's is it the same cast or different? Like,
I think it's actually a series about Furiosa.
Mad Max 2 Wikipedia.
Or maybe it's a movie. I don't know.
Mad Max.
I saw a brief preview.
What? No, that's the
same director, is it, or do we not know?
No idea.
What is the plot of the? Are they making a new Mad Max 2? Mad Max, the plot apocalyptic action film created by George Miller and Byron Kennedy, is set to get next installment in 2024 with
George
Fury.
Miller, same guy. Good.
Yeah, it's a Mad Max saga.
That's a fun movie. Mad Max Fury Road's a fun movie.
Very interesting. It's kind of weird and kind of, like you said, apocalyptic, but super cool.
So much better than Pacific Rim.
How about that Green Mile? Not Green Mile. What was it?
Green Mile.
I'm dying here. Sorry. All right. Rick says, still trying to pick my new speakers. Do you guys have any experience with Monitor Audio Gold? I've heard a few Monitor Audios, but honestly, I haven't. I don't have a lot of experience with them. Have y'all?
I don't have a lot of experience with Monitor Audio.
I have a little bit, and I don't think they stood out in my opinion, but that could be the room or the setup as well. I don't know.
Yeah. Lawson, what is your suggestion for best AVR under $4,000, 7.2.4 setup? Best is
11 channels is what he's talking about there. You don't have to spend $4,000 to do it. 3,800 from Denon. It's $1,000.
15
as long as you get a second amp.
You have to have a stereo amp. It only has amplification for 9 channels, so you'd have to get a 2-channel for the front. But the Denon 3800H is a fabulous receiver. It's $1,000 at Adorama all the time. Like, it goes in and out of sale, but every couple of days it seems like it's back on sale.
It was $900 at Nebraska Furniture Mart
at Black Friday.
I think it was like yesterday.
Oh, well, there you go.
So if he didn't want to go with something that needed external amplification, what'd you recommend?
The 4800.
The next model up in the Denon lineup has 11 channels.
And that's price range on that one. What's that running?
I think I saw it 1,400 from Adorama.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so you might as well just go that route. Because the SR80 15 that I reviewed from Marantz, solid. That thing is a beast, measures really well, but it's a lot more expensive than that. I think it might have even been $3,000 when I reviewed it, but I think it might even be more now.
MSRP is higher than that. Adorama's just got some sort of freaky sale going on right now for the last few months.
Okay. So definitely some Denon options there for you. Meet your budget. JR, if I build a similar speaker enclosure to the original because it got damaged to migrate all the components, will the new speaker sound similar? Great question. So a speaker cabinet got damaged. Can he build a cabinet similar to that? Dimensions, specs, maybe internal bracing, use all the same components, same crossover. Is it going to sound the same or similar?
If you build it to the same specs, it'll sound the same, sure.
As long as you use the exact same wood.
Like cubic volume.
Wood, use the same thickness of the wood.
Theoretically.
Again, like I said, you gotta build the bracing in there, or you could get some internal resonances. I think it can be challenging, but my question is, can you buy another one and not have to worry about the headache? Or do you want to do that? So, but it sounds like it might be a fun project.
We got a correction in the comments here on our last thing. Apparently 4800 only has 9 internal amps. So he's got they're saying 6700 is
the 6800 isn't out. Yeah. 6700 or when the 6800 comes out, or the Cinema 40.
Okay.
No. Will the Cinema 40 do 11?
I don't know.
Cinema 40. So I'm not familiar with the new series as much. Cinema 40.
That's interesting that they didn't bump it to 11 channels on that 4800.
Yeah, the Cinema 40 is a 9.2, so he needs a bigger one. Cinema 50. Cinema 50 is a... Come on, browser.
If you're starting to jump up in price that much, though, you might as well just buy a 2-channel amp. And even if you buy a cheap one for your ceiling, you could use those, like the 3800 will let you choose if you want to do front soundstage or like one of the Atmos sets. Just do an Atmos set. Get a 100 watt by 2 type amp off Amazon for $150 or something.
The only reason why I mention that is just in case he like doesn't have the space for an external amp.
Sure.
So, but most of us do. So it may not be a problem. Oh man, I'm not even going to pronounce that. AV, if that's okay, if I pronounce it that way. AV says, what is the receiver that you're going to use for the new Martin Logans at Michael? Okay, so thank you for your super helpful videos. Appreciate it. So I have the F200. So right now I have a Denon 3800 as the processor, and then that's going to a, I'm about to say Anthem. It's going to a Acurus A200. So that's an old school amp. I mean, this thing's probably 15 years old. 200 watts by 2 is what I'm powering them with.
You got a super chat.
Did I miss it?
MT Young Percussion.
Oh, here we go. Appreciate it, man. MT Young, appreciate the $5 super chat. What crosses are you running? I run 80 hertz, but worry if I step up to 7.2, I may be sending too much info to my subs. There is a lot below 80 hertz. So I've got LCRs, JTR, 212 HTRs, and they're set at 60 hertz. Jonathan, what are you running in your setup?
I use all mine are at 90.
Okay, so you're higher.
I was at 80.
Okay. So
mine measure better at 90. So if you take a measurement, you can kind of determine where they integrate better. The auto EQs don't always get that right. Correct. Mine tries to default it to like 70 and it makes a little dip there. But if I just jump it to 90, I have a nice flat crossover region. So better to check with a mic if you can.
Yeah. I remember when I used to have the Clips of Scalas, Odyssey would set them every single time at 40 hertz. They don't even play down to 60 hertz. Where were they getting a 40 hertz? I'm like, what in the world?
So yeah, probably some boundary gain from your front wall. Man, but then it's boosting. It's actually playing content that's below the port tune. And so your drivers are unloaded in the cabinet. That's not a good situation. So you were correct to change that.
It was weird. I'm like, there's no way. Even Clips, Paul W. Clips, he was like, effectively, they're good down to about maybe 70 hertz, you know? So there was no way they were playing that. Right, let me scroll back up here. Okay, Varn says, how's the 2-channel quality of the Anthem AVM 90 versus the dedicated 2-channel preamp?
Dedicated 2-channel preamp every time. No.
I was waiting for the laugh. I was hoping. Here it came. I didn't know if Michael was going to spit out his water or what was happening.
No, I didn't call.
You won't notice a difference.
Yeah. I mean, some people buy into the whole DAX, make a difference, and I don't know.
Unless it's intentionally doing something now. Or you buy something from 20 or 30 years ago.
Sebastian, Kef R11 metas or Perlison R7Ts?
Perlison R7Ts.
Which Perlison was at MWAVE or at your house, Ryan? Was that one of them?
S7s. The R7s are going to have not quite as capable, but a similar sound signature. Their drivers aren't as sensitive and they can't handle the power that the S7s can. No, the S7, the R7s in comparison to the S7s. I would get the Perlissons. The Perlissons are an objectively designed speaker. Like they're based on data.
Mm-hmm.
KEF is a decent speaker, decent company. I would rather have the per listens.
Mm-hmm.
I can probably help you get a better deal on the per listens too.
Kind of popping back just real quick. They were talking about the 90 hertz, Jonathan. So MT says 90 hertz and below by 13 is a lot of info to be routing to your subs. Yeah.
Nah.
Like you have to make sure that you have the headroom. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's true. You have to have more headroom. I think they say it's like 7 to 9 dB type range typically that's rerouted with that type of stuff, but I have headroom. I don't have an issue with that. And I'm not one that subscribes, personally speaking, that you need to have like different subwoofers for different octaves. Like you can, it's complicated to do. I guess there's nothing wrong with it if you do it right, but it adds complication. So in my opinion, and my experience, it's okay to have your subwoofer cover the whole range. As long as you have the headroom to cover that redirected bass, you're good. 818s doesn't have a problem with that redirected bass. It's okay.
Yeah. Going back to your comment, Ryan Lewicki says, I would argue that KEF uses objective data just as much as per listen.
I don't know. They don't. It's not published on their website. I mean, per listen will publish all of their measurements, like real clipple measurements.
Yeah.
And I don't see KEF doing any of that. I've had too many experiences where KEF UniQ drivers have blown because of too much power. I mean, I don't hear about per listen having that problem. So
yeah,
I would pick per listen. I'm not saying KEF is a bad company. I think they're a good speaker. I would just rather have per listen personally.
MW says, where do you put side surround speakers considering people's heads will be in the way and the seat back? So look at Jonathan's here. It's a good example. So you've got yours kind of elevated. That way nobody is obstructed. But you got a little bit different dispersion pattern probably than a lot of people as well.
Yeah, so we've kind of talked about this on several shows. If you had your speaker right here at 90 degrees, especially with a traditional design, that near seat gets blown out because it's right close to that person. And the guy in the middle gets less sound and the guy in the far gets, even less. But if I put it here, because it's off axis, even with a traditional speaker, you're going to get less SPL because it's not directly in the path of the speaker. So off axis gets less SPL. And as you come towards this closest seat, you're more on axis with just the very design of the angles. So even with a traditional speaker, that's beneficial. And then mine are elevated higher because of the CBT's characteristic, and that's too much data to go into this. But basically, the bottom of that array is attenuated. And so the nearest seat also doesn't get as much sound just because those drivers are attenuated with the CBT design. But yeah, I mean, certainly, in my opinion and my experience, anytime you have a speaker like right here, that side seat's not even comfortable to sit to, especially if you go up to like reference volumes, because it's just too loud and it's right there in your ear and it's just so much louder than the main listening position. So I'm not a big fan of on axis 90%. I just move it back to 110, 115, 105, something like that, just to get it out of the person's ear.
So to address his seat back, I'm assuming he's talking about height. So would you recommend still even elevating those a little bit?
Yeah, you just elevate a little bit. That'll get it somewhat over the seat. Now, if you got a really high seat, like let's say if I could get down lower, there's no sound. There's no sound coming over your head, right? That's one of the reasons I have those low back seats, is because I want that sound to come into my head.
And it makes a difference.
But if you sit high and the sound's coming over the back of the seat to your ear, that's fine.
Really good. Yeah.
Certainly the low back seats make a bigger difference than most people would even think, because we're used to sitting in home theater seats where our ears are covered, or reclining where our ears are covered. Yeah. And when they're not covered, well, it's just fun. Sit real high in your seat and listen to it and you'll get an idea.
Ryan, I think you started this one. Oh, I got Jonathan still big. Why not make the entire room floor tactile as well? 450s, 4550 subs. Oh my gosh.
Just hover floor.
That'd be a hover. Ascendo.
I do draw the line somewhere.
Yeah. Ryan Loper says, a question about the subwoofer drivers I purchased for my GSG audio behind the screen subs. Did we have a question on that, Ryan? You might have missed that one. Ryan, if you're still here, drop it in the chat, because I don't know if we'll be able to grab it quickly enough. Just scrolling back through. We can come back to it. Nicholas Yeah, so why not just 480-inch sub? You guys are nuts, man. Any news about Ascendo, the 6 Pro passive on wall?
No.
Okay.
I've not seen it yet.
No.
That will be good though. I'm waiting for that one.
Okay.
And Jonathan, let's touch on that for a second, because in our last thing, Jonathan had mentioned if the 6 was even reference capable. So I went and talked to Perlisson about that, and the 5 and the 6, and this is the reason why I think the Pro 6 is important. The 5 and the 6 both use soft dome tweeters. The 10 and everything above it use compression drivers. So if you're really looking for reference, you need to at least look at the 10. In my opinion, I think the 6 provides good sound, but if you really want to drive it, you're gonna run out of speaker.
Okay.
Was that their response, or is that your interpretation of the response?
That was their response. And they will freely admit, like when we're trying to talk about room sizes and we're talking about what speakers they're designing for, like if I bring a client on and we have a conversation with Jeffrey directly, they'll freely say you're going to run out of speaker. Like it can't do that. And there's not really a lot of, in my opinion, vendors that'll freely admit that. And whether or not they're trying to get you to bump up to the next speaker or not, I don't know. But a lot of vendors, in my experience, will say, well, all of our speakers are great, and they won't really ever say something negative about something. So they freely admitted that the 6 is just going to run out of gas, and it was designed to meet a price point, right? So to keep the costs down, they went with a soft dome instead of a compression driver.
Makes sense. And the reality is, just like with any speaker brand and any speaker model, you just got to figure out what works best for your room and your needs and your expectations.
Yep.
Cool. I think we're going to wrap up with this question here. Josh Damon says, Michael, when was the last movie you watched?
We've asked him that same question.
So here's the truth. I haven't used my no, I'm just kidding. No, we actually watched The Sound of Freedom not too long ago. I guess that was last week. We had a couple people over and they wanted to watch a movie, and so we started brainstorming. So we bought that. And
did you watch it on the Arendelle gear? Was it all?
Watched. Yes, we did, and it sounded super good. There are some interesting in that movie. The movie itself is phenomenal. It's pretty incredible. But they did some really cool, for lack of better words, there were certain scenes they had like tribal music in, which sounded really good on the Arendelles. There's like some drum like beats, and it starts to build because they're building the story and they're building the storytelling. No, I mean, it's not like demo material. It's not that type of movie, but yeah, solid movie. Like it just kind of breaks your heart, just the amount of evil that's in the world. And and I know that it's a kind of a controversial movie because of some of the people that were in it, and you can go Google that. But as far as just because somebody was commenting on my Youth Man Crew group, and they kind of went off this deep dive of why you shouldn't support this. The reality is, it's just bringing awareness to what the topic was, and that's children that are, put in horrible situations that they should never be in. And I worked for a company for a year called One More Child. I was a communication specialist, so I did a lot of the marketing. I did a lot of the website design, video editing, photography to support the different ministries. And one of those ministries was helping children that had been in trafficked situations. And so it's super horrible, but pretty compelling movie, So did y'all get a chance to see that?
I have not, but it's on my list.
Not.
Yeah. It like I said, it'll break your heart, man, when you think about that. So all right, we're gonna hit another one because I like this. This will be. So Ender says, rest in peace to the days of MWAVE being a small, intimate event. Glad it's been a success, but I'm going to miss the small group from the first 2 years. So MWAVE is going to continue to grow. There's no doubt. Year 1, we had 82. Year 2, which was this year, we had just over 300. Yeah. We don't know how big it's going to grow. But regardless of how big it grows, my heart is to make sure that we are intentional about helping to build community and relationships. Because when you go to a show, it's easy to just kind of, go there by yourself and you don't connect with anybody. But there's several things that I think that we're doing to try to help with that. These home theater tours or home theater experiences, that's a small group. You got 6 people, you got 8 people, you got 10 people that are meeting together for 2.5 hours to do some really cool demos, to hear some really great home theater systems, build community, get to know each other. So that's a small group in itself. We're encouraged. I'm going to do some things in 2024 that will help you find some people, hopefully, that are in your area, like in your state, so that you can connect. We're going to do that on day one. So there's some things that we're going to try to continue to do to make sure that regardless of how big it gets, it's still going to remain small in certain aspects of it. So, but yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. Now, do I want to be a CEDIA where there's 10,000 people? Not necessarily. Will it get to that point? It could, in 10 years. I don't know where this thing's going. We're just trying to make the show the best that we possibly can so that it provides value to you as a consumer, provides some really cool experiences that you're not going to get anywhere else. Somebody was asking just today, they said, what are some of the shows in the US? And so I listed them all out, and they were asking home theater or audio shows. And I said, well, here's a bunch of audio shows, but we're really the only home theater show, like specific for home theater. Now we are going to have some different things that aren't home theater. Like I'd love to have a gaming setup. Ryan and I've talked about that. That'd be super cool. But the heartbeat of MWAVE is home theater, because that's what we're passionate about. But I'm cool with having some 2-channel setups. I'm cool with having some headphone setups. Of course, we got TVs, because a lot of you rock a TV in your home theater setup. So that's great. But the heartbeat, we want to keep that, home theater, at least now. But again, this thing could evolve over the next 5-10 years. So we don't know where it's going, but I'm excited, man. I'm grateful for the love, the support from the community, those that came last year and the year before, such as Ender. But yeah, surround gaming. Yeah, I like it, man. But yeah, any thoughts, questions before we wrap up?
I have a suggestion for folk.
Yeah.
So the last few nights I've been using that JVC for movies, and it's been the version 3 firmware that you had access to early, Michael.
That is correct.
A lot of people, myself included, weren't huge fans of JVC frame interpolation, but I'm wondering, I don't know if it's placebo or not, but I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I think there may be an unannounced change on the JVC motion with frame interpolation on.
Okay.
So if you hate frame interpolation top to bottom, you're probably not going to change your opinion.
Right.
But if you're like me, where you wanted to like it, but you never really could. Like I toggle that on and off a lot of different times over the couple of years I've had that projector.
Right.
And I'd toggle it on for 15 minutes and be like, I can't do it. So I'd turn it off. Well, after version 3, I'm kind of just going through all the things, trying to see if I can notice any difference. And I'm toggling frame interpolation on, and I'm like, I'm not noticing a problem here.
So it's not a negative now.
Yeah, it's not negative. It's positive, because I don't like the JVC's panning. So every time there's panning, it's just jerky.
See that jitter.
That frame interpolation fixes that. And I don't see the soap opera effect that I used to see, because that was the negative to the JVC, right? Motion looked kind of weird or artificial or fast or something. I don't see that anymore. Yeah. And so I'm curious if it's me having some sort of weird placebo, or if there's something to it. So for those of you with JVC, turn on frame interpolation on low and see if you can tolerate it now, because now I can. And I got to go through, and I know from 2 months ago, before the version 3 upgrade, my wife and I were watching the movie Old, and it had a lot of panning. And my wife and I both were like, we can't stand this JVC, go back to the Epson.
It make you sick,
because when you turn frame interpolation off, it's like so jerky, you can't stand it with a whole lot of panning in the movie. And when it's on, it was making weird motion. Megan and I were both of us. She even called it out. This is not good motion. Go back to the Epson.
Right.
I put that movie on tonight for a little while, just after I kind of explored this a little bit, and I watched some of the same scenes that were sickening before, and they're not with frame interpolation on. It's very tolerable now.
Okay.
So either something's cracked up here, and there
Right.
was no change, and now I think there is for some reason, or they changed something and didn't announce it. So yeah, go take a look for those of you with JVC projectors, NZ series.
So that is one thing I did not. So when I was mostly focusing, because they didn't mention anything about that. They were just saying, hey, we made some changes and in this. And so I was just trying to see image quality. And so I've got a JVC disc that they sent me. It's got some royalty-free 4K footage. And so I'm watching it, and I did side by side on my computer, and I reached out to them like, I'll be honest, guys, I don't notice any change. Like, really, I'm looking at these two images side by side, and I'm looking at highlights because they said it was supposed to bring back some of the like detail in the, like skies and things. And I'm looking at the two skies going, I don't know. I don't really see much. So that's interesting to know. Maybe I can, the hard part is I don't have a reference like to go back. I don't have a scene that I captured that had left to right panning.
Sure.
Probably. That would have been good.
So for what it's worth, I asked on the forums if anyone else had experienced that or had noticed any difference. And we're all kind of in the same boat. There's a few people that spoke up and said, yeah, it does seem better, but you can't it's without reverting firmware, and you don't have them side by side. It's not necessarily easy to tell.
Correct.
Sheldon tried it on his, Ryan, for what it's worth, since you're looking like you don't believe us. And Sheldon said, hey, I can watch football now with frame interpolation on, because he said before it would tear up the football in air, like when it was in motion, and it was unwatchable with frame interpolation. And he said, now I can watch football with frame interpolation on.
No, it has nothing to do with me not believing.
I think they must have changed something.
Good.
And I can ask Patrick too to see.
Yeah, I would be curious. And if he comes back and says, no, we didn't change that, I'll be like, oh.
That's funny.
Subjectivity.
Yeah. I'm going to message him now. Patrick. Yeah, I'll do it on Facebook. The new frame.
Version 3 firmware. Did it do anything with frame interpolation? Yeah.
I don't know if I'm spelling it. Totally.
And then it started making me wonder, Ryan, is the Trinoff processor doing anything with the video that I don't know about? Because now I'm not watching it with the Marantz, I'm watching it with the Storm from the Apple TV. Is there any play there? I don't know. I wouldn't think so either, but it's a variable.
Yeah. Ryan said street cred about to get a ding. That's hilarious. Yeah, JVC always had bad motion. So a lot of people complained about that over the years. Not the best. And the reality too, when we look at projectors is, and we saw this at MWAVE, we put them side by side. There's no perfect projector. Every projector is going to have its pros and cons, and you got to figure out what's important to you. To some people, it's black levels. To some people, it's brightness. Some people, it's motion interpolation. So there's a lot of, you just got to kind of weigh the pros and cons, the goods and the bad, and figure out what works best for you. So cool deal, man. Well, I'll let you guys know when I hear back from Patrick if frame interpolation. So tune in next week, and we'll let you know. So, well, man, this is always fun. Love you guys. Y'all are awesome. Those of you in the chat that have hung out with us, we've had close to 200 the whole time. People coming in and out, I'm sure. But always good hanging out with you fellows, man. For the most part, we are positive. We have fun. Trinoff fixes the frequency response of your eyes. I love it, man. Doing some voodoo magic in that Trinoff, huh? I love it. Well, cool, man. I hope you guys have an incredible week. Trying to think if there's anything else that we need to mention before we run off. If you want tickets to MWAVE, you definitely can check out the website, MidwestAVExperience.com. We've got a show in Kansas City. For those of you that don't know, June the 21st through the 23rd. Lots of cool stuff there. Definitely nobody's doing anything like what we're doing. So we're just super pumped, and you can get general tickets. Those are on sale. And then we also have the VIP home theater tickets or home theater experiences. Those are now on sale. They just went live. Some of those have already filled up, but we still have spots available. So if you're interested in experiencing some really awesome home theater experiences while at the show, the day before the show starts, you can check out all the details on the website. So with that said, man, guys, love and appreciate y'all. Y'all are amazing. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week for the live stream.